Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Co-Optional Podcast. And it is here on the 22nd of August, 2017, a day after the solar eclipse did not kill us all.
Was that a thing people thought was going to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I found out so many conspiracy theories about the solar eclipse. So some people believe that it's a sign of a planet that
Planet X?
Nubari, Planet
Nubari,
X.
yes,
Anunnaki, please.
Or something.
Please,
They believe that it's a planet that's going to destroy our planet, and so it's like a sign of the apocalypse, basically. So there are people who have been stocking up.
I live in Oregon. It was crazy.
That's where my family's from.
Oh, are they? Yeah.
That explains so much.
It does, really. Yeah. This is where weirdness starts. But
my parents are also low-key doomsday preppers, so they were like, even if the world does end, we're good. Like, fuck it.
We've got our shelter. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I've been fascinated with reading old accounts of so while people were getting excited about this eclipse going across America, I was reading old accounts of like eclipses in the 1100s and stuff where people were just like literally thought the world was going to end, and people were
just sacrifice everybody, get the sun back.
It's fascinating. I love stuff like that. We're like, boy, those people were idiots. And I think 1,000 years from now, God, are we going to look stupid? They'd be like, oof, those guys were rough. Oh my God. Yeah,
they're not going to be able to find anything. They're going to look at our shit and they're like, where is everything? There's like these small places where books are held, and that's about it. And those will be books about
those will be gone.
You know, they'll be history. Yeah. So it's like they won't be able to access our internet. They'll be all, what the hell is this?
True.
They'll have no clue. It'll be like an Apple II. No one knows how to turn one on except for me.
Yeah, the one that my teacher always used to say in high school was that people thousands of years from now are going to assume that every McDonald's was a church because there were just so many of them. I'm like, fuck.
Walmart's where people went to die. Yeah, it's going to be pretty crazy. I mean, I can't
dogs
wait.
were our masters.
Dogs were our masters. Yeah,
cats and dogs. And cats, let's be real. They're going to find all of our memes.
And in the middle of our civilization, we switched to symbols, which are just the emojis. Which is just like suddenly we lost all ability to actually normally discuss things.
Oh, no. There's going to be a guy who's like reading emojis off a tablet. Oh,
brother, it is hieroglyphics.
Basically is what it is anyway, right?
It is. Yeah, it is hieroglyphics. That's all it is. It'll be great to see people look back and go, a pile of poop. Oh, I gotcha. Makes sense.
But it has many meanings. That's the trick. It has so many meanings.
Sarcasm, real.
Yeah. And aubergine. Is it an actual eggplant or is it a dick?
Why does everyone keep saying eggplants to people? What is that about? And then someone has to be like, what if it was a dick? And they're gonna be like, oh
my God, what if it was a phallic symbol of the times?
A fertility symbol, perhaps. Yes.
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 Quite.
Maybe it was a way of a mating call of sorts.
I like how in TV's future, it's just, I'm going to imagine aliens, but with like explorer hats on. Like, oh yes, my, look at these people. Crazy. Savages, all of them.
With their vape, you know.
Space vape.
Oh my God, vaping aliens. Yeah. I don't want to imagine that.
Looking at our emojis, be like,
Look at the sick cloud, bruh.
Sick fat boom.
Once the Co-Optional Podcast, we do occasionally talk about aubergines, possible future hieroglyphic study, and all manner of other things. Essentially that, yes. Our special guest for the show today, it is the one and only Carrick from AngryCentaurGaming. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely our pleasure. We share some very common interests, we do.
Yes,
we like to critique video games, we like to do that.
Happens.
We like to do the Airsoft, so I've been told. Yes, indeed. Yes. And we do also like our board games quite a lot.
Except, unfortunately, you ended up getting the Airsoft gun I wanted. I feel like you literally got the one I wanted, too.
I'm sorry, what was that? Sorry, you're talking about the Tokyo Marui AA-12, the first tri-short.
I'm talking about the Adrian Brody. That's what
Predator gun, yeah. Or whatever it is.
Adrian!
That thing just looks awesome.
God, I love this gun and have two of them. It's kind of neat. Yeah. All right.
Do you guys, when you buy airsoft guns, do you like contain yourself to a specific speed? Like, do not let yourself buy guns that are like at a super dangerous speed.
So
you just buy any gun you want.
Yeah, so Kara can explain this better because he's played on fields. In Charlotte, we don't really have fields, so I'm mostly just I'm a backyard target shooter basically right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say we used to just get into our like really puffy coats and then go into other people's fields.
And I can't tell you how I live to this day because we played in my backyard. We're in the middle of the city, and so in 2009 we were in the backyard with guns that looked absolutely real. Of course, I ignored the red end. We camoed them. Now we'd be shot in seconds. But yeah, basically what you have is like different jobs. If you're a sniper, you can go to a certain FPS, for, feet per second. And then a lot of times you have to basically just go on the honor system. You don't want to walk up to almost anybody in a very short distance and shoot them. So a lot of times you'll just be like, you're out. And if they don't go out, then you might light them up.
Then
it's called bang bang.
Fists.
Yeah.
And then they have rubber knives. Actually.
Rubber knives. Yeah.
They've got rubber knives.
Yeah,
that shit sounds a little. I mean, I teach martial arts, so the idea of like having a rubber knife and somebody swinging that shit at my eyeballs doesn't sound like a great way to spend my day.
We used to when we did stage combat, we used the knives that like collapsed in on themselves.
Yeah.
but
Basically,
you still felt super cool, just like stab.
Airsoft is half sport, half LARP. Basically, best way to describe it. Yeah. Especially the Milsim events where they limit you to like 30-round magazines and only the support gunners get the bigger magazine size and all that kind of thing. And a lot of the fields will have the feet per second limit, and they can test that by using a chronograph. So you fire through it and it'll tell you the speed that it traveled. So you can test that. You don't have to go purely off the honor system. But there are definitely people who can fuck around with that. You've got to watch out. Just basically don't play with kids and assholes and you're okay.
Yeah. There's some YouTube videos that you see of one guy using an HPA, the high pressure air, and he shoots a kid and he's really close. And it's like 700 feet per second, which is more than enough to embed in flesh. I mean, that's insane.
That's dangerous.
So, but it's rare. I mean, it's like paintball. You have your jackasses, but
what's the difference between airsoft and BB?
Metal and plastic, or metal
I think in the UK they don't call them BBs, they call them pellets. But technically, BB, a metal pellet is an air rifle. That's what you take squirrels out with, varmints, and a plastic BB is a 6mm plastic ball, and they're referred to as BBs specifically. If you want to buy, a bunch of BBs, that's what you buy them under.
Gotcha.
What about like airsoft hugs? Why can't we have that? Why can't
love offs? I like to call them love offs. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's love soft. No, that's better than love off. Yeah. Love soft would rock. Let's do it.
And we just all like,
who can hug the quickest?
3, 2, 1, hug. And you have to like jump and twirl and like hide behind things. Then you hug someone. You're like, got you. And they're like, oh, you did. And that's it.
And that's it. And then you just walk off and you're like, well, that didn't really accomplish anything at all, but it was fun.
Not really.
It accomplished love.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eventually,
like I said, nothing at all.
We're all going to get together and we'll have an airsoft game, and we'll all understand how it works.
Dodger's going to have a love soft game. As everyone's shooting at each other, she's going to
won't be able to hit her. She's too small.
My hometown in Oregon has a really well-known paintball field. So
I know what hometown you're from now, for sure. For sure. Yeah. I'm within an hour of it.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Well, it's the Optional Podcast. We do occasionally talk about video games. We're not going to do 3 hours of Airsoft talk as much as we absolutely could. We're going to avoid that. We have a lot of games to talk about. As usual, spend the first 2 hours of the show or so talking about the games that we have been playing this week. And last hour of the show, we'll be splitting between news and releases. We picked some releases out of the giant bucket of crap that ends up on Steam every week. We'll talk about those. And, of course, lots of Gamescom news this week. So there's plenty to cover. A lot to go. So we better just get going right now because a lot of us have been playing games, huge amounts of games. Can I kick off with Sonic Mania? Is that okay? Will people let me do that?
Go for it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Got it on Switch. It's delayed on PC for a couple of weeks. I think it's an ideal game for Switch.
It's one of the few games I would say get it on Switch.
Yes. Yeah. It plays just at the right speed, because why the hell wouldn't it? It's great for playing either portably on a big screen. We even played, myself and the wife, we split the controllers and we did the little competition mode, the squishy mode,
Yeah.
I remember when I played that as a kid, and on a 4x3, that looked like absolute crap. Looks a bit better on a widescreen. Looks a bit better. So they've changed that around a little bit, and they've put a couple of modes in, like random power-ups is fun. You don't know what any of the power-ups are, and you jump on them. It's like, oh, well, one of them might lose all your rings. And, you know, they've added a few extra things in. I mean, I don't have any doubts in my mind in saying it's the best Sonic game that's ever been made.
One of the boss fights is straight up, like, I don't want to spoil it. It's not a boss fight. Does that make sense?
Yes, it's the one at the end of Chemical Plant. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So you're like, this is genuinely fun and silly, and I can't believe they did this. And it's like, thank you for having fun with the game. This is awesome. It is great. Good on them.
It's been interesting watching the conversation around that game because everybody agrees that it's a good game, just like across the board. But then it's turned into two camps of people either being like, wow, isn't it really cool that Sega just like realized that they didn't know how to make a good Sonic game and let the fans make it? And then the other side is people being like, man, fuck Sega. The fans figured it out and we don't even need Sega anymore. Fuck them. And I'm like,
no, what they don't get, there's Sega and Sonic Team. Like, it's Sonic Team wanted to move beyond 2D because they were chasing Nintendo, who successfully moved from 2D to 3D with Mario 64, right? So they wanted to do the same thing with Sonic. Of course they did, because 2D was out of fashion then. The problem is Nintendo realized a bit quicker than Sonic Team did that moving back to 2D might not be a terrible idea for some of their games. And then when they did move back, you know, Sonic 4 was just a mess. It didn't get it. It didn't understand what made those games great. And it's not just fans. This is not a fan game. I think that actually like is a really bad way to describe it. These were professional developers.
Yeah, it's a game for fans, but it's not a fan game.
No.
But they were fans. I mean, I think that a lot of people are taking. They were fans, and I one of the things that interests me is we see it all the time in the industry is that recycling of fans becoming developers. And you know, and that to me, whether it be mods or whether that's what we're seeing is the growth out of the mod into the full game. So these guys could have done a mod, maybe, but and that's I think what they were trying to do. And then now it's like a full game. And to me, there's something so awesome because there's few industries. I can't go and make a fucking car. I like cars.
No.
I can't. I mean, it'd be like Fred Flintstone. So I can't do it. But the idea of somebody being able to get those tools and get an engine and create those assets and create a game, there's something insanely empowering for gamers and for fans to be able to do that.
Yeah, there really, really is.
I think Sonic has been going in the right direction tonally. Anyway, with like across all the different media, right? Because we've got the fucking Sonic Twitter, which just takes a piss out of Sonic constantly. And then they made the Sonic Boom TV show, which makes fun of everything about the Sonic fandom in every single episode and is super stupid and funny. And now like Sonic Mania, like tonally, I feel like they've been like more and more people who understand the audience that they're talking to have been infiltrating, you know?
I mean, does anybody remember the old commercials? Sega took themselves so seriously anyway, that it opens them up now for this, an amazing amount of just there's Sega Saturn commercials with some dude fucking dancing around shit. You have no clue what they were even doing, but they were extreme. Everything was extreme. And it was like extreme Mountain Dew, Ruby Red.
What Nintendo don't, and all that kind of thing.
And so it's cool to me that that Sega sort of understands, looks back and goes, yeah, this is like hilarious. Let's just tease ourselves. It's very cool stuff.
Yeah, totally. I think the reality with this is the only real criticism a lot of people can bring up against it is that they do use assets from the previous games. Like, well, of course the levels are good because they're all the same. No, they're not. Like, if you've played any of them, they are vastly more complicated and completely reworked in many ways. Almost all the bosses are different. Chemical Plant is vastly more complicated than it was. Green Hill is vastly more complicated. And I just got through Studiopolis, and that level is phenomenally good. And that's an entirely original level. They rebooted it. It's recognizable. It's a real reboot. It's recognizable, but it's not exactly the same. It's better. They realized level design and complexity of level design was actually one of the key strengths of Sonic in the first place, the 2D Sonic games. It was not on rails. Not at all. And people thought, oh, Sonic's about speed. No, it's not all about speed. Part of it's about speed, but just holding right and going fast is not Sonic.
That's
it's never
NASCAR.
Been Sonic.
Actually, that would be holding left. I apologize.
Yes, but is it hold left or right? I can't really remember.
I think it's left.
Yeah.
So
God
I have a
damn
question.
This
then
is so satisfying to watch.
I have a question
It's
about it. Then when you're playing it, reuse of assets doesn't bother me from level to level because, or even from game to game, depending on how they do it, because obviously that's just intelligent. And as well as you want to connect it to the prior title, makes no fucking sense to like not do that. When you're playing it though, it's $29.99, 19 or 29 for that game? Or is it full price?
It's definitely not full price. Okay. I think it might be 30. But you know, I don't know if it's the Switch tax kicking in or not. You know, I don't.
when you're looking at it, do you see a title that's a full-fledged title? I mean,
for 30?
Is that how? Yeah, for 30.
I mean, by the way, on Steam it's 20, and it's actually 18 for the pre-release. So it's probably the Switch tax. You know, it's either 20 or 30, I think, depending on which platform you buy on. That's absolutely a $20 game, and I'd say it's even a $30 game. And I think the replayability is there. Not only, you know, it takes a good while to get through it, because, you know, it's Sonic, and some of us really suck at it. But it's one of the only platformers I like, I think. And you might think, why do I like Sonic, of all things? I hate platformers, right? There's something about Sonic that is constantly entertaining, and I think it's as long as you have one ring, you're invincible thing. That's pretty good. There's still some stuff that pisses me off, especially in Chemical Plant. Drowning. Fuck drowning in every Sonic game ever. That's an anxiety trigger if you ever fucking heard one. And also getting squished. Like insta-death squish. But there's something about it that is very satisfying. But I think there's replay value because of the number of routes you can take through. Donkey did a great dunk view on this. He said as soon as he finished it, the first thing he wanted to do is play it again. Because he wanted to see, there's other ways through the level. There's like even more than there was. So there is totally replay value. And they have a couple of different modes in there as well. So for $20, yeah, that's $20 worth of game right there. No problem.
Very cool.
If it was 60, that would have been a harder sell.
Yeah. I'm happy for them. I'm so glad.
Good. Yep. It's still 20 on the Switch, apparently. So if they put a physical version out, it'll be 30, probably, knowing them, but yeah. Okay.
And it'll come with a little Tails figure.
Yeah.
Knuckles.
Yeah.
And Knuckles.
My boy.
Yeah.
I tried to draw Knuckles. I was playing Drawful with my viewers, and I tried to draw Knuckles as like my picture. And everybody was like,
good luck.
What is that? Is that Sonic or is that Knuckles? And so then we were like, oh, it's Snuckles. But it turns out that Snuckles is an actual fucking like thing that people draw.
No.
Just like a terrible smush child of Sonic and Knuckles. If you chat, go for it. If you Google Snuckles, you're gonna find so many weird
Speaking of Sonic,
morph babies.
Don't even do that. Just Google your name, the Hedgehog, and you'll find yourself. There exists a Hedgehog version of you out there right now. Everyone
That's
has
why. One. What's the other Sonic game where they were like, you get to make your own Sonic character, and everyone was like, finally, DeviantArt comes to Sonic.
What was that game?
What is that?
It's Forces, isn't it?
It's not out yet.
Forces.
Oh yeah.
That's
Forces.
the Sonic Team game.
Yeah. I can't wait to make Dodger the Hedgehog, Dooger the Hedgehog.
Jesse the Hedgehog is going to be green because it's going to be great. He's going to be green and
because
awesome.
Period.
Green and awesome.
Yeah.
I'm very
blend in.
I'm very glad that they're actively mocking the Sonic fandom because some of that is the worst.
Oh my god, the Sonic fandom. As a person who religiously read every single comic book and played all of the games,
chili dogs.
He loves those fucking chili dogs.
Yeah, we know that.
I am delighted. I am delighted to see the way that the actual property is just like, y'all are fucking weird. Like it makes me so happy.
Oh god. All right. Who wants to toss that in the ring? Who's got a game for me?
I played the first chapter of the new Telltale Batman.
Okay.
So I think I'm the only one out of any of us who played all of the first Telltale Batman, right?
Carrick might have.
Here's
the thing. Carrick has played every video game, so you need to understand this concept.
Carrick, I'm delighted.
That's what Crank will do. No, I'm just joking.
Whoa.
He might not be.
Yeah, so I played the first chapter of the new one, and they've changed up some stuff, and I like it because in the in the first one, when a QTE happened, say that Q popped up, right? I was in the middle of a fight and it said you have to press Q, and I pressed E. It would just sit there waiting for me to hit Q. Like, you hit the wrong one, buddy, but don't worry. Try again. It would I never once failed in the first one, not because I didn't hit the wrong button, but because it didn't fucking care if I hit the wrong button, right?
Yeah.
So fast forward to me playing the new one, and I got into a fight and it told me to hit Q, and I accidentally hit something else. Batman fucking died. Yeah. And I was like,
the last season was Water Wings the game. I mean, it was all about safety. It was
easy.
Didn't have to worry about anything. Yeah. I'm glad you liked it. I loved it.
I actually really liked it. I love the way that they're twisting like things about Batman lore that we all just assume, and not just like, we're gonna make the Penguin hot. Not even just that stuff. Like all kinds of stuff about Batman lore and how everything is built has been twisted even just a little bit. And I appreciate that because we have a million Batman things. So why not do something different with it?
TB and I have talked about like NDAs. You get them sometimes, where you get an NDA that'll say something like, we're making these awesome changes, and you play it and you're like, yeah, you fucking didn't make any of those awesome changes.
No, you didn't. Yeah.
This is the first time where they sent an NDA, and I was sitting there with a friend and I was like, this NDA is just bullshit. It's like, we've decided we're doing this, we're duality of roles. And I'm like, yeah, it's not going to happen. And instead they nailed it. Like that was one of the first times where I was like, wow, they didn't lie to me.
Thank God for that, because Telltale has been on a very boring path lately. I understand you can take the same formula and reproduce it for a bunch of different licenses, but holy shit, are they not just bored of doing that?
Speaking of boring, the Guardians of the Galaxy one.
Dude, it's terrible.
It's so fucking boring.
I wish that like, it is Guardians of the fucking Galaxy. How is it boring? It's boring.
It is. Oh,
it's painful. I want it to be so much better than it is.
And I don't know if you guys are saying the same thing I am, but I discussed it in the review that this is, of all of the groups, Guardians of the Galaxy seems to be the one where they sort of trip into success all the time. They're not really that good at anything. That to me is where Telltale could nail it, because Batman is super competent. That's great. So Batman, we already know he's super competent. Yeah. But if you had Guardians of the Galaxy, you could do this thing where it was like just skin of your teeth, really interesting characters. And a couple of the lines in this new one was okay, but I think I said that basically they somehow figured out how to get a comic book, instead of turning the page, you're just pressing the A button. And that is unfortunate, because of all of their IPs, just feels like that one should be nailed.
Absolutely. It should be the easiest one to do. And it's boring. That's the worst sin, is it's just boring.
In the new Batman one, it seems like they've changed up a bit about like how relationships work with characters, and like the whole you do something and it says so and so will remember that, like that kind of stuff. Instead, sometimes you'll make a big choice, and it doesn't do the Life is Strange thing where it like pauses everything and it's like, this is a big decision that you're about to make. Like, this could fuck everything up, right? It doesn't give you any kind of banner to tell you this. It's just like, you're faced with another choice that looks exactly the same as any other choice. You decide what you're going to say. And then instead of it saying like, oh, so-and-so will remember this, it says your relationship with this person has changed, period.
And you see that at the end, remember, Dodger? At the end.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before. And when it started saying like, it's confident or, upset, and I was like, wait, what does that mean? You made so-and-so
furious. And I was like, what does that mean?
I made everybody furious, so I have no clue.
I loved that. I was a little disappointed in myself, because typically when I play those games, most of the choices that I make are not the popular choice. In this newest one, I made the popular choice every single time, and it makes me want to go back and like replay it just to see what the other choices are 5%
like. 5% of people told Batman to fuck off. You're like, yes.
But no, I think that they're trying to still give people a Telltale story game, but finally change some stuff and figure out how to make it so that the way that things progress is different. And I really, really want it to work out. And just as a heads up to anybody who hasn't played the first Telltale Batman game, they do like pick up right where they left off in this new one. So you'll be a little bit, they'll reference things. There are ways that they give you information. Like there's a time pretty early on where you get to walk around the Batcave and there's like items around and you can click them and it'll be like, yes, remember when we saw this person in the last game?
Yeah.
So you don't have to have played the first one, but I think you should because they reference stuff a lot. So yeah, I'm delighted. I was delighted when Batman died. I was like, oh my God, actual consequences for hitting the wrong button. This is so great.
That's awesome.
All right. Jesse, what you got?
Well, first let's start with Observer, which is
That's supposed to be a spook, isn't it?
So Observer is a game, first off, where you literally, I know you're supposed to be a character, you're literally playing Rutger Hauer. Like that's the character in the game looks like him. It's just him. It's like he just Rutger Hauer in the future. That's it. You're not playing a character, you're just playing this man. It is a cyberpunk detective game that so if you played Layers of Fear, which Blooper Team, which again, for a scary game producing company, Blooper Team is solid. Layers of Fear was a game that was not necessarily scary, but it was trippy, and there were a few moments of like, what? But most of the time it was an experience of like, we're getting deeper, this is getting weirder. Observer takes that and goes like next level with it. So it's a cyberpunk future where you have neural mods that you can scan. You're a detective, and in this future, of course, everyone works for a company because companies run everything. And you're a cop, and you get a message from your son. And so you go to track down your son, which leads you into a murder investigation in an apartment complex that, for reasons, gets shut down and locks you inside. And so you interact with all the people who live in the apartment complex, and you try to solve this murder mystery. And you have like eye mods that can let you see DNA, or it can let you see like technical stuff, or you have like flashlight, whatever. But at the same time, you can also jack into people and like connect to them.
Just jack in to people, by the way.
And you can experience their memories. And so what the game is kind of like, imagine an hour or two of investigating, looking around, trying to solve a crime, and then coming across either someone who wants you to jack into them, or someone who shut up, Dodge. Someone who or like a dead person. And that's when the like genuine uncomfortable horror shit happens. Like, apparently going into someone's mind is not a pleasant experience, and it is weird and creepy and upsetting. And if you have epilepsy, you probably shouldn't be watching this shit. Like, there's one scene where you experience a party, like a guy takes you back to when he first met his wife at a party, and it's literally shadow figures sporadically dancing on a dance floor to like techno as lights are flashing, and you have to like walk through it, and it's really jarring and weird. There's some sort of monster in this world, but you don't know if it's real or not. And then, because it is straight up Blade Runner meets Inception, this game, it of course has is anything what you're seeing right now actually real?
Real, yeah.
And so it's layers on layers on layers, and it's a game that, just like Layers of Fear, the longer you play, the more uncomfortable you get, and the more, because it plays on the fact that you have eye mods, the actual game as you play, first off, over time, you have to take injections because the world around you starts to get pixely because of your enhancements. So if you play and you don't take your injections, it'll literally look like you're watching a video on 240p. Like, it'll slowly start to like pixelate. Yeah.
Basically, it's like my current camera on the show right now, as people have repeatedly pointed out. I know it's shit. I can't fix it. I'm sorry.
So the question is, for people watching, are you jacked in right now? Think about it.
Oh shit.
But and so it has that where it's all staticky, Plus, then the game uses that in effect when you're in people's minds as well. So it does, like, you know, those GIFs where it's like someone going like, and it like, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
It's like that. That happens a lot. And as you go through memories, shit gets crazy. It is a next level experience in there, but it's also one that if you don't do well with like bright flashing lights or weird glitches or loud noises or strange, it might be too much. It might be too much of an experience for you, which is it's crazy. It's a genuine crazy game. I've never played anything quite like it.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's
Is this,
certainly
sorry.
No.
Is this the game where you said there was kind of a slow burn on it at the beginning?
Yeah. I had to, the first video we made, I made it an hour and 45 minutes because it literally takes that long to get to a first really genuinely scary moment. Because up until then, you're solving a crime and you're going through the process of like learning your abilities and you're investigating, you're going around door to door trying to figure out like what's going on. You have to track down this person and eventually you find someone and then it like ramps up. But if it's anything like Layers of Fear was 3 hours of a slow buildup and then it got bonkers. And then it became terrifying. And I love those games. I think they're phenomenal. I loved Layers of Fear. I think it may not make for the best like YouTube Twitch schlock because it's like, no, it's not jump scare. But it's something that as an experience, you're like, all right, I want to see where this story goes.
Did you play it alone or with the boys?
With the guys. Yeah. So, but I played Layers of Fear 3 times now because there's multiple endings and there's multiple ways of doing it. And every time it's an experience. Because one of the things that Bloober Team does that I think is genius is they have, I don't know, I can't say that they created this, although if they did, shout out to them. But what they do is they constantly do you're heading one way, and then something blocks you and you turn around and now what's behind you is totally different. And they do multiple times where like you turn multiple times and things keep changing. And it feels like Warcraft instancing, but I know that's not what it is, but that's what like feels like where like the further you progress, things change around you. And if you turn one direction, it's now completely different from what you thought it was. It plays with your perceptions. And I love that shit. And they did that in Layers of Fear and they do it in this game all the time, especially when you're in the dream states. And so I think we finally hit the point in the game where we're like, wait a minute. Are we like Leonardo DiCaprio and possibly stuck in a dream? Like that kind of shit where you're like, oh no, what is... Yeah, so I'm waiting for it to get like real nuts because there's little hints where we're like, hold up. That can't even be in the real world. But you're like, well, maybe it could be because it's the future and we don't know. But yeah, I'm excited. Yeah. It's not if you're worried about like a scary game, or if you're thinking like, oh, I don't want to play a really horrifying game, it's not that. It's just there are a few contained moments of like, oh no, this is weird and uncomfortable. But yeah, it's definitely a cool experience. And I would
Did you also like at least for me, right about the time you get to the Prince music video moment where all the pigeons and doves are in the fucking alley,
yes.
But you're out there going like,
what?
Oh, dude, it's hilarious. You walk into this alley and I don't even want to ruin it for people.
There are pigeons in the entire game that randomly fly by, and I keep wondering like, what does that mean?
So that's what I was going to ask. Also, have you ever not taken the pill for a long period of time?
After the first time we took the pill, our initial approach was, hey, let's not take any more pills. Let's see what happens. Because we were curious what would happen to the world around us.
Right.
And it started to get really messed up to the point where it became visibly like we couldn't look at it anymore because it became hard to watch. And we were like, oh shit, if it's hard for us to watch, people watching on YouTube are going to be like losing their mind.
Because it's like 240p with 240p on top of it.
Yeah. And so we took a pill then. But I think one of my goals before we're done is just to see how far, because in my mind, I imagine that's when shit gets crazy, like real crazy. And I want to know what that's like but at the same time, visually, it was too much. It was just too much.
And don't you guys talked about Hellblade in a couple of your past videos, but I like the fact that that was a auditory too much for some people, and this is visually too much. And I really love, there's something about that that's, if it's done well, that really works. And Observer, especially when you're switching between the views, if you notice, it actually obstructs your vision. So you get a new type of vision like biomass, so you can see blood, but it actually makes it really hard to do anything else. And I love the duality of like, okay, if you want to see this, you can use it, but there's a lot of restrictions.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I agree. It's all, even that is visually jarring.
It is,
where I keep thinking while we're playing, like, oh boy, this is not going to sit well with the YouTube peeps, because like when you switch up to like you're looking for BioVision, the screen is literally red, and except for the few things you can see, it is red, and there's nothing else there. And when you switch up to like when you're trying to look for parts and like you're scanning evidence and stuff, that shit is like green, and then a brighter green. And then when you put in your flashlight, except for the stuff in the middle, it's like bright on the whole thing's jarring. And I think I can handle audio, like too much audio in a video, because at least with that, it's sort of like controllable by the viewer. But I feel terrible for people who want to watch this, but physically are incapable of doing so, because there's a lot where you're just like, oh my God. Even when you're sitting there with four other guys and you're just like, or three other guys, and you're like, oh my, what is happening right now? Because yeah, I would simply say if you're curious, go watch the last 20 minutes of the first video we put out. That's when shit gets bonkers. And if you can sit through that, then you can handle the rest. But if you can't make it through that 20 minutes, you're going to like, there's one scene, you go into a shower, you turn the shower handle, and everything becomes bright red and like gross, but it's right in front of your face. And so it's like, what the fuck? It's a lot. But at the same time, I love it for the art that it is. I love going to like modern art museums and looking at videos people made. And like, those are always really weird. And just like strange David Lynch-esque videos where you're like, what the fuck is happening right now? And it's bizarre and strange, but by the end of it, you're like, I guess that was kind of beautiful.
I kind of liked it.
Yeah. I like being challenged that way. But at the same time, holy shit, it's a lot. So yeah. Watch at your own risk. We definitely, I think this might be the first time we had to put warnings at the front of a video that was like, hey guys, this might be too much.
Obviously, yeah. I'll watch you guys play. I have no interest in playing that. Horror's not my thing, but it's been getting a lot of positive feedback from a lot of people by the looks of it. People, the unifying opinion on it seems to be immersive.
Yeah.
That works out pretty well. Cool, let's move on. Carrick, you have played every video game, but let's see, what do you want to toss out from what you've been playing this week that maybe stood out to you as either really good or just noteworthily bad?
Well, it's funny because we've covered a bunch, one being the Guardians of the Galaxy, which was, I love reviewing those just because if you're asking people for money, fuck you, I'm going to do a review for it if I can.
Absolutely.
Because like it doesn't make sense. And a lot of these guys try to skate by. I'm not saying they do, but so those, and then Observer was fantastic. Like what Jesse was saying, that game there's a part where he hasn't got to that is there's a certain, it reminds me of the movie Predator when they show the Predator vision and you're like, who the fuck could use that? Like no one could see anything that way. And that's the way in Observer, you actually have to look for things. And there's a very cool, almost an intrusion. And we're seeing that with Hellblade, an intrusion sort of auditory, and then we're seeing it visually. But then I jumped to something that was polished, which was Uncharted, the Lost Legacy. And it's so crazy to me because the argument became, so I think the game's good. I had a good time. It is by far the glitchiest of all Uncharted games I've ever experienced in my life. In my video, I say, engage, Captain, and Nadine, while you're standing there, just warps into she warps all the time in the game. It's the weirdest thing. There's little tiny glitches here and there.
It's also designed for 2-player, yeah? So you can play with a friend?
No. I mean, there's the multiplayer stuff, but it's one person. And
okay.
So the game itself is very good. It is, I personally think, the glitchiest of all, like the least polished. Like you can almost feel that this was DLC originally. They didn't know if it was going to be Sully. They didn't know if it was going to be Sam. They didn't know if it was going to be Nate. And then they found Nadine and Chloe, and they were like, we're going to do this, and then made it a full game. So sort of blown out story-wise too. But here's the thing.
I literally just downloaded it because I want to play it after the stream. How long is it?
So that's what I was going to bring up. The biggest argument didn't come when it came to the discussion of cost or anything. It came to the discussion of Naughty Dog said it was an 8 to 10 hour game. Okay. I usually tie or come really close to whatever the developer says. Sometimes it's shorter. We all play different. And there are so many people are like, I got through it in, 5.5 or 6 hours, blah, blah, blah. And there's all of these secrets in that game. There's the first time that I remember ever in an Uncharted, there's the open world area like Uncharted 4, but there's a mystery place that you don't even have to go to. But if you do, because it's not connected to the story, it feels more Tomb Raider-y or Uncharted 1 than any Uncharted. So it's fantastic. Like that was a complete surprise for me. But I was just sort of I guess I get a little bit disturbed by the consistent, like how long a game is, because we all play in completely different ways. And how much, of course, we'll pay for whatever amount of time, and to be like, they're lying, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? It doesn't really behoove them to lie, to be honest. It doesn't. I mean, most developers know that by now. And it took me 8.5 or 9 hours. And then you have multiplayer. It includes all of Uncharted 4 multiplayer, plus the multiplayer for Uncharted 4 already had a survival mode. This adds a wave mode to it. It adds one mode. I saw it in the PR. Their multiplayer, it's cool. You can buy this. You can play with people who own Uncharted 4 if they don't want to jump. But it's one of those games that you will never ever purchase if you don't play the other Uncharted. Because it's like watching a South Park episode with two characters if you've never seen South Park and all the in jokes, and you're like, I have no fucking clue or listening to you guys prior to the podcast.
Yeah,
when you guys are talking, I'm like,
fuck.
We do try and keep a lot of that shit off the show for that reason, because if it's a new viewer that comes in and we're just throwing off in jokes that make no sense outside of that, then it's useless.
Yeah.
Badang.
Yeah, that's why I don't bring up Bang Badang anymore, because it's dumb.
Because it's dumb. Yeah, it was good. I think it's I think it's a typical Uncharted game. It's just a little less polished, but it's $40 too. I mean, that's another thing. It's like we're getting these really cool games that are in that weird zone where they're not that full price anymore. And then you're getting giant collector's editions that are $200, but whatever.
You know what? I'm sort of okay with that, because we're going into the differing price points and milking the whales territory, but we're doing it with plastic shit and stuff to go on shelves instead of ripping people off with essential DLC.
Oh my God, I am a whale for figurines. I will admit that.
What?
Every day.
What?
Hey, if we can fund game dev that way and get the price down for everybody else, that's fine. I think that's one of the fairest possible ways to do it.
Yeah.
Good with that.
Yeah, that's it for that. Good game, though.
Good. Glad to hear that. Oh, let's see.
What have you been playing, Teebs?
Yeah, well, I mean, I did Sonic, mate. I've playing shitloads of stuff, man. So I got to play Warhammer Total War 2 early.
Right.
Which,
how was that?
Well, it's very much kind of like the first one, but with a lot more stuff on top of it. It's
so awesome plus awesome.
Good, yes, yeah, definitely very, very good, no doubt about that. So I got to play sort of two different versions of it. We streamed 2 quest battles, which let us play Dark Elves versus High Elves. Love that, because I was big into Dark Elves. That was the first Warhammer Fantasy race I was into when I was a teenager, so that was really cool. Getting to see Malekith on his Black Dragon just roasting fools and casting magic, fighting phoenixes and all that kind of thing was great. And then I got to play a Skaven versus Lizardman battle. I have very much come to the conclusion Skaven's my jam in a big way. So this version, yeah, there are improvements over Total War Warhammer 1. There's quite a lot of them, in fact. But it pretty much plays the same way with 4 new races. But it's backwards compatible with all the old races as well. So, any DLC race you have, or if you've got the first one, you can play this giant mega campaign where they mash both the new continent and the old continent together in a giant fuck-off 10, 12 race mega battle that's just crazy, you know? Which sounds to me like a dream come true. It really does. But the 4 new races are Skaven, High Elves, Lizard Men, and Dark Elves. Skaven are a really cool mix of completely disposable, cheap rat men that you can just throw away with no regard to their life.
As you do.
As you do. And really cool, like, warp-powered tech stuff. Like...
Gotcha.
Interesting.
A warp fire thrower, which is like a 2-man team where it's basically a green kind of fire flamethrower. It just melts people, including your own dudes, and that's fine. Plague Claw catapults, warp lightning throwers, and then stupid crazy shit like the Doom Wheel, which is this giant kind of huge chariot with warp lightning antenna on all sides. It's constantly firing crap at you and all that sort of thing. And you can mix that in with tech, like one of the heroes has a rocket launcher, and some of them are magic. So it's a really cool mix of disposable crap, and it lets you play like a reckless asshole, which is exactly how I play Total War. You are not punished for throwing troops away in this game like you would be for a lot of other races. As, unfortunately, a result of that, your troops, especially your frontline dudes, are crap. They really suck. You can outnumber people 4-1 and still get absolutely murdered on the front line. Found that out against Lizard Men when they just went ballistic. They lost control. They actually lose control if you apply too much pressure to them, which is interesting because normally you'd overwhelm people with overwhelming force, right? Why would you never do that? Well, you don't do it with Lizard Men unless you never want them to break ever and fight to the death and kill 50 of your rats for each one dude that dies.
Oh, fuck.
So you have to pick them away a little bit?
You gotta pick at
like not push at them too hard? Gotcha.
Yeah, you gotta pick at them, so it's super cool. The campaign's really good because you actually...
lizards.
Yeah, you get affected by your own corruption. So you wreck the land for yourself, too. So you've got to keep moving, which means you often do a lot of reckless attacking and quick moving, which is exactly my style. Here's Thick Boy, by the way, as we like to call him, or the Slan Mage Priest, the giant fat toad, getting stabbed to death by my hero rat. There we go, on his giant floating stupid fat chair and his stupid fat toad face, and now he's gonna die. Big fat.
Ready.
Yeah, there you go. Thick Boy's gone. There you go. It's a lot of more of the same with a lot of refinements on top of it. With probably the races that you may have wanted. It's got a bigger selection of terrain. The Lustrian jungle is beautiful. There's a whole bunch of terrain I haven't seen yet. It's just that it's a huge amount of content. That's always the case with Total War. It's a massive amount of content. So if you're willing to buy it's a standalone game, but also basically a mega expansion, that seems to be what Total War 2 is offering. And it does fix some of the issues that the old game had. Not all of them, but some. Definitely.
Total War 2 isn't out yet.
No,
right?
it's out in a month. So this was an early build. And
that's what I was going to ask. I mean, obviously
so
you don't want to talk about performance because that doesn't make a lot of sense. But when you were looking at them, would you say, because Skaven are my favorite, followed probably by Lizardmen when it comes to the armies and the look.
Yeah.
Did the Skaven, one of the reasons why I liked Vermintide, for instance, is because I actually liked some of the way they looked. Did they actually, when you zoom down, did they look like genuinely different?
Yes.
Because one of the complaints I've had at times is the animations. Sometimes you were like, they were a little bit different, but they didn't really differentiate themselves enough.
Some of them are really good. And what you're going to like as well is they've got new monster versus monster fight animations. So instead of just swiping at each other, they've got unique interactions. So they're sort of like, they could even go like, if it's two flying ones, they'll start on the ground, they'll go skywards as they're fighting each other.
Cool.
There's finishing
awesome,
moves. You know, if you were sad that Dawn of War 3 got rid of finishing moves, and I fucking am, Relic, we'll talk about you later. Don't you fuck up Age of Empires 4. But outside of that, no, they've got like new finishing moves and everything. They've definitely not recycled all that many animations. There's a lot of new stuff in there.
Aren't you excited, man? Because I remember every time a Total War game came out, I was like, man, I wish they'd do Warhammer. I wish they'd do Warhammer. And when they finally announced it, it was just one of those moments where you're like, finally, the IP you wanted gets announced. into the game you wanted.
It makes so much sense.
Yeah, it does. And they did well because let's be honest, Games Workshop shit isn't always the best. You know, the digital versions, whatever.
It really isn't. Because it gave a license to bloody everybody, and as a result, most of it was crappy mobile stuff.
Yeah.
Yep, so like that. More hats. Throw them into the ring. We have more of this.
All the hats.
Do we have enough time to talk about Dauntless?
Yeah, we do. Let's go.
So Dauntless is in alpha right now, and it's basically a Monster Hunter clone. You can pay to get into the alpha, but the actual game is supposed to be free to play once it actually comes out. So you're basically like donating to their development process.
Fortnite?
That makes me roll my eyes.
It reminds me of Fortnite a little bit. Just a weird.
That's just how that's not how they pitch it, but that's how I think of it.
Yeah,
is like I'm paying money for them to like finish this game so that I can play in their alpha, basically. The combat is fucking great. The combat in that game feels so nice. It's really obvious that the animations aren't finished. It's obvious that all of the voices are placeholders. The UI is like not very pretty at all. It's very much like a basic early game. But the look of all of the monsters is super cool, and fighting feels great. It feels so nice. They have so many parallels with Monster Hunter that it's like kind of ridiculous. But if you're looking for a Monster Hunter game on PC, you're going to be delighted.
Or you wait for Monster Hunter World, which is...
Or you wait for Monster Hunter World.
They must have hated that announcement.
Yeah, I think because people keep being like, do you think that this game will even last once Monster Hunter World is out? I think that the things that it has going for it is that it's free, that it's going to be free to play. And it depends on when it comes out, right? Like I think it has to come out before Monster Hunter Worlds. Otherwise it's not even going to be able to get a base. But it does the thing where it starts you off with like the basic form of all of the weapons that you can play with. There are only a few. It's not as expansive as Monster Hunter tends to be. But yeah, it's honestly really, really fun. So if you're looking for a Monster Hunter game to play, I don't know what their projected release date is. But again, they're still just in alpha. It's just it's very fun as a Monster Hunter person.
It looks cool.
What's the jump in cost then? I mean,
oh god, it's high.
Oh, okay.
I want to say that I spent $60 to get into the alpha.
Understood. All right.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Unless you want to be part of their streamer shilling program, which they I decided not to stream it because I found the whole concept annoying. They put out a program which said, "Hey, viewers, pester your streamer, basically ask your streamer to sign up to our influencer program so that they can promote and basically shill the game to others."
My God,
I was like, nope.
I'm so jealous of the people who are in the influencer program, though, because for a stupid reason. If you're in the influencer program, everybody has flares to like help the process of like if you're grouping up. And Monster Hunter, I always felt like I could play on my own and be totally fine. This game, I think, focuses much more on team play. So it expects you to be with randos a lot. And so everybody has a flare that they can shoot off so that, you know, if you find the monster first, you can be like, it's over here, that kind of a thing. The game also has the sort of Monster Hunter aspects of like, there's like minerals and plants and all kinds of stuff that you can use to make health potions and things that are in the area where you go to fight the monsters. So if anybody's looking for something specific, then you have the flares, right? If you're in the influencer program, you have a flare with like whatever logo you want in it. I'm very jealous, but yeah, I would say things that they need to work on is like, one of the things that I loved about Monster Hunter is when you dropped in to fight a specific monster, the world was still populated with other monsters, right? It didn't just look like you were dropped into a vacant area with one monster that you had to find. Yeah. So I would hope that they would kind of follow, again, it's an alpha, so who knows, but I would hope that they would sort of follow that idea and put monsters in that don't aggro on you, right? Like just monsters that exist in the world and build that way. It also looks like, just judging by the animations, that they're going to employ the thing where some monsters in Dauntless at a certain point in the fight will call for help from other monsters. That was always a Monster Hunter thing as well. So yeah, Sam has gotten much further than me, and he said that they get pretty complex and the monsters get really, really cool. I've gotten far enough to notice that there's definitely a ramp, which is appreciated, right? Like the first ones that you fight are pretty easy, like they're cool, but they're pretty easy, and then it ramps up from there. So
compared to, because we know that new Monster Hunter's coming,
right?
Based off what you played of Dauntless, with that game on the way, what do you think Dauntless is like? Do you think Dauntless is going to have legs? It's going to be its own thing that can compete in the world of Monster Hunter, or is this going to be a flash in the pan?
I think that they are fully aware of the fact that they're in a bad spot, and that's one of the reasons why they're trying to get as many people as possible in at alpha instead of waiting until beta. Because they might not necessarily know when they can get the game out, and the sooner that they can create a base of people who are playing the game, the better. I do think, again, I think the combat feels really nice, and that's really what it's all about to me. So as long as the monsters are creative and interesting and have cool abilities and stuff like that, and then fighting them feels good and makes you feel powerful, those are the biggest things that they needed to nail, and they seem like they're on the right track with that for sure. So the fact that it feels really good to play and it's going to be free, I think are big benefits to it. But Monster Hunter, of course, in classic like Blizzard style, the day that the alpha went live, Monster Hunter put out a trailer.
Of course they did. I mean,
I was like, classic.
They've got that shit saved, and they're just ready.
Yeah, they were like...
They're like Sony and Microsoft. Microsoft says anything, and Sony's like,
fucking do
it.
Yeah, I think we could end up with a Paladins and Overwatch situation, where Paladins still does well, and honestly, Paladins is good. It's a good game, and it does well because it's free to play, and it doesn't have the price barrier. And Monster Hunter World's 2018. They've got time. They could totally run alongside each other, and Paladins. Well, how well's Paladins doing right now? It was doing super well a while ago. Let's see if it still is.
It hasn't really dipped to a dangerous place ever, right? It's always
they have 30,000 current concurrent players. They're fucking fine.
They're fine.
Yeah, they have no problems at all.
What's Lawbreakers got? 3?
Oh, that's sad,
isn't it? Isn't it?
It really and it is.
Did any of you guys get to watch Cliff's GDC video, the fighting the 800-pound gorilla?
No.
If you get a chance, it's free now. You can download it. But Cliff talked about going against the bigger groups and stuff with a certain type of game, and a lot of his ideas were really cool. And we were shocked. We were talking on the other podcast where we were just like, what happened? Like, how did it go wrong? Because especially as an Unreal 1999 fan myself, I played it and I liked it, but I'm not like, I have to play that game. And that's everybody I've talked to says the exact same thing, but no one can really sit down and say, here's why. Does anybody have a clue why?
What's it missing? I can say why. So what I said in my WTF of it was a few things. One, obviously you're entering the FPS market on PC, which is about the most competitive market that exists. Sure. You might as well be entering the Dota market. It's nigh and impossible to break through with a premium title. You're asking for that. They were going to do free-to-play. Unfortunately, they listened to the people on forums that don't actually buy video games, that just complain about video games, that we don't want any more free-to-play games. We want premium games that is one cost and get in. Stop listening to those people. They're idiots. They have no idea what they're talking about, and they won't support your game. Secondly, the biggest issue that I think that game has, and this was evident in the beta as well, is that game does not teach you the key mechanics that are required to be successful in Lawbreakers.
It's true.
Its tutorial is garbage. It had to be much, much better to come out the gate. With the beta, you saw all the complaints. You saw this coming a mile away. People played the beta. They said, movement feels terrible. I'm just floating around at 0G, you know, and not getting anywhere. There's no momentum. This game's slow. It isn't, but it doesn't teach you how not to be slow. It doesn't teach you blind fire. Key mechanic in the game. It should be putting that in your face as soon as you start with the game. It should be shoving that straight into your face. You should have to complete a goddamn blind fire course before even allowed online, as far as I'm concerned. Remember how Titanfall taught you wall running and that didn't have any problems as a result? I mean, obviously nobody plays it now, but, you know, in terms of teaching the game, didn't have any problems there. This game doesn't teach blind fire. So the 0G combat, which is the main feature of the game, doesn't work for bloody anybody, basically. You have to watch YouTube videos. I mean, God's sake, half the tutorials are YouTube videos. So the game has tanked. You know, right now there's 700 people playing it. 24-hour peak was 816. It only ever peaked at 7,500 players. In a couple of weeks, it's dropped from 7,500 to 800 concurrents. That is evolved levels of disaster.
Is it Battleborn levels, though? I liked Battleborn.
It's getting to Battleborn levels of disaster. And Battleborn got crushed by Overwatch. Lawbreakers doesn't even have that excuse. Lawbreakers is a genuinely good first-person shooter, and it's going to die.
You know what we're seeing, though, TB, is there's more and more games coming out that I've noticed the tutorials are terrible anyway. Like the developer almost falls in love with some mechanic and then forgets that you're not also in love with the mechanic.
Absolutely.
And so have you guys noticed that? And so you'll be playing the game, and especially when I'm doing a review, I'll be all, I actually might need to email the PR person and say, am I missing something? Because, and then, you know, you'll accidentally do whatever the special thing is or what. And I find that a little disconcerting because I think that sometimes it's the way they do the development now with early access and all this kind of stuff where there isn't a date, right? There's not this is our milestone date and the tutorial has to be built in. It's like, oh, we'll get to that. Early access, those people will know, and they're treating a lot of people like early access that shouldn't be in some of these games.
Yeah, I agree. But, you know, the thing is, they had time to release this. This is their release, and they didn't have what they needed to explain the game. Sure. That's the main fault. There's a couple of other issues, but I don't think they're game killers. There is also one other thing that I think people were rooting for this game to fail. I think there's actually been a growing culture online where people, they don't seem to play video games. They actually seem to hate video games, and they're really just rooting for games to fail so that they can... I think it may have happened back with the Old Republic. You remember the whole Titanic thing? That was the big meme around the time. It's like, hey, that's hilarious. Let's repeat it 5,000 times. So it isn't anymore. Beat that fucking dead horse. I think it started maybe around then, and people have got really... They've become almost cheerleaders for failure. Lawbreakers had a shit ton of that. You've seen it all over social media, Reddit, you know, all the anon boards and everything like that. People have been rooting for it to do badly. It's going to have to go free to play quick.
But why? Like,
because they're sad.
Because, Jesse, if you like something I don't, I hate you because of it.
Yeah.
Like, it makes no sense. And hate gives me purpose. It fires me out.
In my life a lot recently. I've noticed that about the internet.
Yeah. It's a combo of fans. Korea actually had this called anti-fandom. They actually had to legislate against it because it got that fucking bad to the point where you have to associate your online ID with a government ID now, because anti-fandom got so bad in South Korea. People were getting literally murdered over it. There was a massive spate of suicides. You know, consider cyberbullying. Ramp that up to 11, 12, 13. That's South Korea in a nutshell. So it's that. People love to hate. I mean, that's not a new concept. It's just the internet helped it spread quicker.
It's also a little embarrassing because if you step away and look, there's few things in this world that matter less than video games. And I'm a video game reviewer.
I
say this in my reviews all the time, but I'm like, totally, if you don't like my stuff, go watch Dreamcast Guy or TV or all these other guys because it really very few things. If you've had any life experience after the age of like 12, if you can get through an age gate on YouTube, you should already be to the point to where you're intelligent enough to know that it's just not. There's very few things that are that important. And for the hate that people get, it just makes no sense. You could use that energy fuck, man, we'd already be on the moon if people were just stopped hating something.
We mention that all the time. Like when people get really invested in like exposing one of us for something stupid, and we're like, you could be like, you could have an amazing career helping people.
The amount of time
and instead you're using your abilities on this.
Imagine how sad somebody's life must be that their entire channel is dedicated to trying to demolish the fame of people more important than they are. That's TMZ. Actually, you can pity that. You can pity that.
The problem is that people see that as a route to success. And they're like, well, if others have done it, then I can do it. But it's the same thing as when people saw, like, oh, I can play Minecraft and become famous. Like, people just want success as quickly and as easily as possible, even if it means sacrificing their own morality.
Or their kids.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, some of the kid channels where, I mean, you're coming suspiciously close to some serious abuse.
I mean, you're getting Daddy of 5 is literally abuse, and that's why they got arrested for it, you know? It had to get that far for people to care.
It's just sad. There's a lot of good stuff out there, and usually my opinion is if I don't like something, I might tease one of you guys. Like, if we were all sitting together talking about a game, and I'd be
a little bit of a roast.
You like this? Yeah, but then you move on because there's other stuff, and just put your head down and play the next fun game. But a lot of people like to mire themselves in it.
Yeah, because the reality is these guys believe that Jurassic Park is better than Jurassic World, which is obviously an objective fact.
We're going to take our first break, ladies and gentlemen. It's...
Jesus, the park world. I saw just a little bit of this in the last one.
I love it, Maggle.
For real though, that new Jurassic World game looks the fucking dope.
Oh my god, it looks amazing.
I'm so excited.
So am I.
In my life, it made me want to go back and play the old dinosaur, not Tycoon, but whatever it was, like Dinosaur Park Builder game.
Well, it wasn't. It was Jurassic Park. Oh god, what was the name of it? Like,
I thought it was like.
God damn it!
I thought it was a Jurassic Park game.
It literally was. Yeah.
It's like a 10-year-old, 15-year-old
Operation Genesis is the name you're looking for there.
Oh man, I want to go back and play that shit just to like experience. Building a park is cool. Building a dinosaur park is coolest. I'm ready.
Yeah. Absolutely. And they called it Jurassic World for a good reason, because they know that's the best version now.
Serios. Dodger, I want you to dress up like
I'm super serious.
And come in and chaos theory me while I play.
Okay, great. I would love to.
We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Co-optional podcast. Hey! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Co-optional podcast. Get this dog face off. There we go. Okay.
Go on.
What dog face? I don't know what you're talking about.
Get rid of that dog face.
I don't know. I have no idea what you're even discussing at this point.
Can I really quickly? I just want to jump into the fact that the Pillars of Earth. Y'all need to play that game. I cannot stress it enough. I played it over the weekend. It is a like a choice-driven. I don't want to say visual novel, but it's like kind of.
But it basically is, right?
Yeah. But it's just so good. Like, it's so good. I can't spoil anything because literally everything in that game is a choice that feels like it actually has real consequence. Like, there's a lot of choice-driven games where at the end of the day you're like, oh, well, that just really only leads to one of two paths. This shit feels like every choice you make is game-changing. Right. I can't even stress how much of like a unique experience it is, and it's so well done. So that's all I'm gonna say. Go out and get it. It's dope. It's really cool.
Without spoiling it for anybody, doesn't it begin with like a Oregon Trail moment where like something absolutely terrible happens in the
it begins with a birth.
Yeah,
a very birth.
Right. So, yeah. That's awesome. I everybody I've talked to loves it, and also it's a good amount of money for a long game, right? Or a long book.
I'm buying it right now.
It is a game where it's eventually gonna it's 3 releases, but each one I believe has 3 chapters, I think, and it is just so well done, and everything you do, like. There's even choices where I don't know. Like, there's one point early on, so this isn't spoiling anything. One point early on where you're like, should I kill this deer or not kill this deer? But you're in the king's forest, so if you kill the deer, boy, are you in trouble. But you're also starving to death. And you're like, okay, well, is there other options? Could I maybe scrounge for mushrooms? But the deer's there, and it gives you like all these opportunities. Like, maybe you should kill that deer though. And so I love, like, I killed that fucking deer because fuck it. But like, it's one of those things
where
I was
eat
like,
the other people.
You cannot.
You can't don or pass it. Too bad.
But also every character has relationships with characters. So there's the fact that you could go by the way the book does it. So the novel has, you can go by the relationships of that, or you can just make your own stories. You can and there's some characters who immediately hate each other, and so you can be like, fuck it, I'm gonna make this guy like me. And you can like go out of your way to be really, really nice to a character or something like that. And there's things that happen that affect. I think it's genuinely very well done. And it's like I said last week, it's essentially Game of Thrones minus magic. Is really
Do
what it
you
is.
need to have read the novel for the game to work for you?
The game is the novel. The game is it's the like novelization. They took the novel and said, fuck it, make the story you want, but it starts the same way basically.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, the whole premise literally is a town is building a cathedral, and so it's the story of all these people that were alive during the process of it getting built. And so you play as the monk, you play as this guy who lives in the wilderness, you play as this woman who has lost everything and is like, fuck it, I'm gonna get back whatever it takes. And so you play as all these different characters, and their lives intersect and weave, and it's just sort of during the process of this big monastic cathedral being built. It's super cool. It's cool. Very
all
good.
All right, let's what else have we got? There's plenty on the docket, I'm sure. Who wants to toss one in the ring?
Just really quick, because it's on sale. I don't know how many of you realize this, but the Bandit pack for Armello came out that has all of the Armello characters that were Kickstarter exclusives.
Yeah.
Like the Fox and all of them.
Years ago.
So if you would like to get those, the game and all of the DLC are like super cheap right now. The game is 40% off and all the DLC is 20% off, and there's a bundle that you can buy that just has all of it. So yeah.
You mean like Guppy?
Like Guppy.
Can I tell you something? Still outraged that the cutscene for the game, the opening cinematic, features his poor murder.
I know.
I love you, Guppy.
Baby boy.
You're my number one squire.
Armello is a great game.
Yeah.
So
yeah, very much so.
Yeah, I want more people to play it and know that there's a Fox character now.
One of many digital board games that are pretty cool. I did play a little bit of Children of the Zodiarcs.
It's fun. It's a fun game.
Yeah, but
Jesse told us about that game last week, right?
Yeah, I mean, he told us about it months ago.
Yeah.
When he checked this out. It did come out a few weeks ago, but Carrick, if I recall correctly, you got a lot further in it than we have, and you've run into some issues with it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one of those games, once again, that if you play a couple hours, it's like, man, there's a lot of really cool stuff here. But then later in some of the matches or some of the battles, the camera becomes, at least for me, became a horrid issue, because there'd be a spot where there's an alley and you're trying to see what your character's looking at, but the camera does the thing where it's not free. It's like 45-degree hatches, I think, where it's like chicka chicka chicka.
Why would it change that? Because it starts free, right?
It does. It's just the locations that you end up fighting in.
Oh.
Occasionally it starts to happen and you're like, oh, and then what happens is the ire builds in me over time, where I'm like, that pisses me off. And then I'm like, I'll ignore it. And then the way that there's certain things with the dice mechanic and how I want to speed it up for the enemies. And I don't know if this has been patched in.
You can do it now for enemies, but not for allies for some reason.
But for enemies, you can. Okay, that was a huge deal, because watching somebody roll for 35 enemies was mind-numbing. So those kind of things. Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's because there's a great, as I said in the review, there's actually a great core game in there.
The dice mechanic and the way you can change and upgrade the dice, and I think that's awesome.
Dice building, man.
Card use, I love that about that game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, dice building's becoming more of a thing in the board game scene. You had the good old Marvel Dice Masters which was one of the older ones. Now they've got Yu-Gi-Oh! Dice Masters, Dungeons & Dragons Dice Masters. You now have that Star Wars Destiny dice building game that's pretty good. I played that. I liked it quite a lot. And now you have literal dice building in the form of Dice Forge, where you take the sides of the dice off and replace them with better ones. So there's some pretty cool shit going on there, too.
Whoa, what's that called?
Dice Forge.
Holy shit.
Yep.
You just turned
Sound
my
good?
ADD on.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, we're talking about, like, my wife will be all, seriously, make sure Amazon one-click purchasing isn't on. Because at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll just be all anything like dice stuff. For some reason, I don't know why. I could never explain it. Dice Forge.
Oh, Dice Forge, man. Dice Forge. There's been a lot of hype behind it lately.
Does anybody here play the digital version of Talisman?
We have.
Here we go.
The greatest game ever made. I do. I love that game.
Don't do
Long
this.
ago.
Okay, before I jump into what apparently is some kind of fucking suicide, I actually like Talisman in
Great
real
game.
life.
I agree with you.
Okay. So, TB, you don't like it?
I used to. I used to adore Talisman when I
He
was
loved it
edition?
until he played it
Like,
with us.
12. Talisman is a 30-minute game that takes 4 hours to play.
Yeah. Right.
Jesse ended my love of Talisman. We played a 4-hour game of it. Right at the end, Jesse, tell us the story of the mighty teleportation spell.
All I know is TB was gonna win, and somehow I did. I don't know the rules. I don't know what happened.
Every person who plays Talisman has a story of a person walking off, and one of our friends was winning, and he got the nomads or the raiders who steal all your stuff, and he had everything, and you could see him go from like, this is great, to I will never ever
this game.
Fucking play this game again. The reason why I asked is because you were talking about board games like that. I'm happy to see them. I'm happy to see apps like that coming out of these games. Star Realms, is that the
Star Realms? Yeah. Yes, I just played the updated version, Hero Realms. I played the physical version. That's good too. Well, I love
that people who maybe, I'm not trying to be rude, but some people think it's nerdy to have a physical card, but they'll play a fucking app, right? Or vice versa. So I like the fact that more people can get in on it. I'm very stoked for that.
If I recall correctly, Dodge, you were binging into Ascension for a long time on the app, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I played the physical version of Ascension quite a bit, and then when it came out on mobile, much like with a lot of those card games where you have to keep track of shit, you're just like, this is so much easier.
So much faster. You could play Ascension games in 2 minutes when it was taking 20, you know?
Yeah.
There's definitely some benefit to it. I like, the problem is I keep fucking the app version of it up. Dominion is still my favorite, even though it's got the theme of a block of wood. Basically, it's still probably my favorite deck builder, but the online versions just sound very good. You know, they keep making these bad versions of Dominion, but it speeds it up so much because you can pick a random set from all the sets, just go. It does all the shuffling and dealing for you. It's like 5 times as fast. You can fit tons more games in. But yeah, Star Realms and Hero Realms are both really, really good physically. The Star Realms app could do with a little bit of work UI-wise. So I'm waiting for Hero Realms is coming to Steam. We've played a bunch of both. They're both good. Really, really good. Talisman, God, just play Warhammer 40k Relic.
Talisman's fucking awesome, man.
Relic's better, like, in almost every way, man. It's Talisman, but 40k with all the bullshit cut out. It's good. It's so good.
Can we talk about the fact that I just realized this because I was going on to Steam. Fucking Cat Quest is one of the top, like, it is killing it right now.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. I love that game.
I've been playing it on my phone quite a bit. I haven't played it on PC still.
Well, Lyric played it last week, which helped a lot, and I think a bunch of the larger YouTubers played it, and it actually turned out not to be a piece of shit, which I think a lot of people were surprised by.
Oh yeah, as a follow-up to the whole, hey, how do they deal with dodge rolling on the phone? You can't roll on it.
They changed the game. Also, apparently, when you cast magic, it pauses, so you can like move. So it's a different experience on the phone, which is great.
It feels nice though. It feels nice to play.
Okay.
Very simple.
That's cool. That's neat. Fine with that.
Also, Nidhogg 2 came out, and apparently super positive reviews. So awesome! It's a great game, even though people are like, well, I still don't like the art style.
The art is the sticking point for a lot of people, and I don't blame them because it's garish, but. I don't think that they would have had as much of a I know we've talked about this a million times, but I don't think they would have had as much of a problem if the first game wasn't so like
simple,
Yeah,
minimalistic. That's the better word.
That's what a lot of it comes down to. It's just such a change. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, it's not a sequel because you haven't changed enough." Now, apparently, it's not a sequel because you changed too much. It's Nidhogg.
Not my Nidhogg.
Hashtag not my Nidhogg. Yeah, I played it with the missus on stream for an hour. We had a riot. It was a lot of screaming. That game's just genuinely funny.
It is. It's super.
It's
fun.
just funny. When you die, it's funny. When you kill somebody, it's funny. When you do bullshit. When you win, it's funny. When you fall into a meat grinder, it's funny. When you fall down a pit as you're winning, it's funny. And the character, I like the new art style. I didn't like the screenshots. I think you got to see it in motion. Once you see it in motion, I think it's better in general.
Also, when you're playing, you're not focused on the art. You're focused on throwing a sword at a guy or sliding or dodging. And the art adds to that because it's so like in
messy.
Your face that you can actually appreciate the kind of weirdness of it as your weird Muppet man is like trying to get out alive. It's cool. I think it's great.
I like it. Yeah, I like it a lot. The problem right now, low online player base, so if you don't have people to play with, the netcode is fine as a fighting game can be, but still, if you don't have friends to regularly play with, it's a bit of a problem. That game needs to be on Switch yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
There's no doubt. It would be perfect.
Speaking of game, I haven't played this yet, and I'm hoping one of you guys have, or at least you know someone who has. 20XX. It's basically a co-op Mega Man roguelike platformer.
So that's a combination of things I hate, but okay.
What? like you're playing as two Mega Man-ish characters doing Mega Man levels, but it's a roguelike game.
Okay. How's it roguelike?
Because it's all random generated levels, and when you die, it's like, all right, back to the beginning kind of stuff. I'm interested in this game. The reviews for it, people are loving this game. Dukes, will you play this with me for like just a random video?
Yeah, why not?
I want to, because it's.
Is it local? Does it have to be local or?
Is it co-op?
Let me look right now.
It's co-op.
It's co-op, online co-op, local co-op, online multiplayer, multiple. So this is a game designed to be played with friends. I wonder how many actually.
Maybe we could stream it.
Yeah. That might be cool.
Together.
Full play online and local. Yeah, absolutely.
I really like the system requirements. Processor recommended 2 toaster processors or better from 2011. Graphics something made in the last 5 years.
Perfect.
Yeah, it doesn't look too complicated, but it looks awesome, and it looks like a fun, weird. Like if you're down to Mega Man, but also die a bunch, I think it could be cool. Everyone seems to say it's great. So
I like how this came out of nowhere and just shat all over Mighty Number 9. It's just
everything shits all over Mighty Number 9 though. That was
Firehose games. Oh shit, Firehose. Yeah, they made Go Home Dinosaurs, which was that dinosaur tower defense game, and they made Collateral Damage and Slam Bolt Scrappers, which I played. Yeah, a couple of things.
Oh, Collateral Damage. I remember that.
Collateral Damage, yeah, where you were just a cat and you knocked shit over, and that was the whole game.
I remember that game.
Yeah, we mentioned. Yes, of course you did. A lot of people like this is the Mega Man X sequel, or it is X, not 10, right? Yeah, it's X. Yeah,
it looks better. Yeah, it looks like an X thing
that it should have been made. Yeah, cool, awesome. There's another one to put on the list.
Yeah, I keep seeing it. Like, holy shit, I need to play this, and I just keep getting reminded because everyone's like, you should play this. I'm like, all right.
Nice. Okay. What else we got? Garrett, tell something else in the ring. What you got?
I'm trying to not break NDAs here, so I'm reading.
You always got to remember that.
Because I have a bunch just like you, where it's like they're all you can't even say you're playing. I'm playing Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
I'm looking forward to that.
But pretty sure I can't say anything about it.
Can't talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it sort of sucks because it's just today happens to be the day where a lot of codes came out for people. I'll talk about something older. Well, so you guys talk about upcoming games in a little bit, right?
Yeah.
At the end. Okay.
At the end of the show, generally, yeah.
All right. So the one I am playing, I return to this once a year. Actually, I'll just ask you guys: do you guys have a comfort game?
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So what are your comfort games before I say mine?
Towerfall.
What is it?
Towerfall. I can sit and just space out and play single player Towerfall.
Whatever the newest Civilization game is for me is my comfort game. I will, when videos are rendering, when I'm just bored, I will pop that bad boy in and just be like, let's make some shit.
If I'm not counting mobile stuff, the original Deus Ex I come back to once a year.
Gotcha.
For another playthrough.
So mine's KOTOR or Anachronics. But
Anachronics, wow.
Yeah, dude. But KOTOR, I was returning to it and I had forgot that there were mods, and I just have to give like a shout out to mod creators because they blow my mind. Like a developer is supported by a fucking HR person, a person that makes sure they get paid on time. Well, unless they're certain developers and publishers, but most of the time they get paid on time. And there's all these support, but for a lot of mods, there's nothing. And you see some of these KOTOR mods games that have been out for years and people are still out there modding them. You go to KOTOR Nexus or whatever, and they've got like 800 mods. And so that's what I'm playing right now. And just, I love going back to those old games and seeing like some pretty fantastic work from people at making something look like nothing, like not even near what it did.
Yes. Speaking of mods, shout out to 2 mods. One, the one that TB and I played for Sins of the Solar Empire, which is the Star Wars mod.
Star Wars mod.
Throne's Revenge.
Dope. Yeah. And then Civ 3 or 4, shit, I think it's 4, the Fall from Heaven 2 mod straight up makes it a fantasy world and changes everything. There are heroes and spells and like it is so good. I cannot stress that you need to pick that up if you just want to experience Civ, but like on a different level. It's crazy.
It blows my mind that game developers will sit around and have like long agonizing discussions about how do we make sure that people continue to play our game? How do we make sure that the longevity of this game, like that it stands the test of time and people don't just drop it in a week? And then they also turn around and are like, no mods. Nobody can make mods for this game. No. Yeah. And I'm like,
right.
Which ones did you pick up for KOTOR that kept you going?
They're usually it'll be graphics mods, but for example, like KOTOR and Jade Empire, which is another favorite of mine. Jade Empire's mod, I'm playing both of those right now. It actually adds martial arts that were never allowable for the player to actually play. And they're stolen from some of the bad guys. So you actually have martial arts and they work. They, for whatever reason, like the people got them to run and they actually work in the game. And so you can learn those. For KOTOR, it's usually graphics because let's be honest, it is an older title, very old. But just texture mods and stuff like that. And that's what always impresses me because these guys are using texture budgets that are far lower, memory requirements that are far lower, and they're still able to make games that they don't look modern, but it's just fantastic. And a current game that I'm playing, Jesse stole mine, but Observer. I'm playing it. This will be the 3rd playthrough. This and Prey. Observer is legitimately, for me, could possibly be game of the year. We'll see, or at least my game of the year, but only because I don't do game of the year the same as a lot of people. Mine's more like what sits with me versus
it definitely does. It definitely is an experience.
Yeah,
but
I've done that before. Yeah.
Speaking of Dodger's bit about mods and stuff, literally look at Skyrim. That's the perfect example.
Yeah, right.
It would not have the legs it does if it wasn't for the fact that they were just like mod some boobies and shit in there if you want.
Yep.
And that's like people keep playing it because new stuff exists in there, and that gives them the chance to put it on every goddamn console there ever was. Yeah. And if it wasn't for that initial community, I'm telling you, it would not be nearly as popular as it is. Because I think Morrowind's better, but whatever. I'm just saying.
So do I, by a good amount.
I'm just saying that, like, add shit like that. I don't know why devs are so afraid of people like changing their babies, but whatever.
Yeah, it's odd to me.
But you think it's a fear then? like a worry that if you have mods open, you'll be able to do something with the game you're not supposed to do. Right? Like what I mean is like data mine something, you know, or something crazy like that. Look at Two Worlds where they removed the console.
Yeah. Yeah, because everyone cared about what was coming for Two Worlds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Dodge, go ahead.
Sorry, Dodge.
I was just going to say, I do think it's an access thing. I think that's why so many companies, I think EA started doing it like a long time ago with Sims, but like why so many companies have started releasing their game and also releasing like, this is how you make mods for it. Right. Here's like what you need to make mods, so that people don't go like breaking shit inside of the game and like messing with too much. They're like, no, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. Here's what you need, right? And I much prefer that to people saying, don't touch it. Just don't touch it. No mods.
Well, DLC is still a big factor as well. Because ultimately, as soon as you were very easy, and you could have made this before, make horse armor for free, then you start to undercut potentially the market for DLC. And some devs understand long-term, they're much better off allowing that to happen. And ultimately, if they make a good piece of DLC, people are going to buy it. And you know the studio is going to do a better job. They have more resources. They can make a bigger thing faster. You see how long some of these mega mods take? Like 10 years. You know, there's a lot of arguments regarding should modders be paid, should they not, should they have landmarks and payments and such and milestones. Well, they should if you want to get something out in a good amount of time. Right. But some companies like, no, modding undercuts everything. And we've seen the most extreme example, GTA 5. You know, why they're saying, oh, well, you can't mod the stuff from my multiplayer in the single player. It's like, I don't want to play with other people because they're all assholes. Just go into that and see what happens. We don't want to play online, and we don't want to pay $60 for your fucking virtual car, you assholes. I don't know. It's sad. It's sad, frankly. But yeah, we've had this discussion.
I didn't mean to start that rant, but what I was saying.
It happens. I'm sorry.
No, I agree, actually. No, I agree.
Yeah, it is sad. Now, here's the thing. So we talked a little bit earlier about Children of Zodiarcs and the problem you had on launch, and then we noticed that problem had been fixed, right? So there's another game that I played yesterday on Steam, a similar situation. When it came out, got kind of slammed a bit for a bunch of bugs and errors that are no longer in the game. And the name of the game...
Tyrant?
No, I did play that though, and I'll talk about that in a minute because that's still in early access. Redeemer is the name. It's a $15 brawler where you play kind of the monk from Diablo 3, and you punch the living shit out of some fools. It's a brawler. It's just from a Diablo perspective. When it first came out, a lot of bugs, a lot of performance problems. That's all pretty much been resolved. But of course, as a result of the poor launch, gets buried on Metacritic, gets buried in reviews. Right now, I played it, and I had a lot of fun with it. It really is about big charged up kicks, kicking people into walls. It's got environmental kills, impale people on spikes, impale people on trees, throw them into fire and watch them burn to death, beat up guys with flamethrowers attached to their arms and power armor, disarm someone of their gun and shoot them in the face with it, disarm a mutant of their actual arm and hit them in the face with it. It's a good 6 hours of good punching people game, and and silly cheesy B-movie plot. Kind of all I wanted for $15, and I've had a lot of fun with Redeemer so far. It's been pretty good. So that's just a little example of something that I put a suggests video up today to explain why I liked it. It's something that I played a couple of hours on the stream and said, hey, this was kind of neat. Shame it launched in a poor state, but that's not the reviewer's fault, is it? That's your fault as the devs for releasing it with bugs.
Yeah, the bug that we had, I was playing that with a group here. What was that? Oh, yeah, that was the one where it would drop down to like 5 frames per second.
Yeah.
And so that's impacting your actual gameplay. So at that point, things just become unfun. Speaking of those kind of games, I don't know why this keeps popping into my head. We're going to play it this weekend, which is probably why, but Deadly Tower of Monsters.
Oh, well,
so fantastic.
Did it pop in because it's a B movie? They use B movie aesthetic in there, right?
Yeah, it might have been, yeah. And I usually have my poster up, but if anybody gets a chance talking about like games to go and get, Deadly Tower Monsters isn't perfect at all, but it's Gauntlet in a Flash Gordon crazy chromatic world.
This looks hilarious.
And Headlander and Deadly Tower Monsters are two that I love their look.
Oh my God, I love Headlander.
So did I, but I actually think that Deadly Tower Monsters is better. And I emailed the developer a couple days ago and I was like, are you guys doing a second one? And it sounds like no, but if you guys get a chance, how much is it on Steam? $9?
It is $14.99.
$14.99. But yeah, that's a fantastic.
Do you think it's worth $14.99?
I do, but I mean, now that it's passed by, you know, it's not a new release anymore, so things sort of change.
Year and a half old.
Competition, yeah, is different, but yeah,
well, that's it. Game. You know, trying to get the attention back for some of these games that maybe didn't sell well the first time around is pretty damn tricky because there's so much new stuff coming. So should we, as channels, be maybe diving back into some older stuff? You know, it's hard to say because I don't think there's such thing as a dead week anymore. And I'm also sick to death of people saying, there's nothing on Steam, there's no games to play. Only if you have a very limited palette is that true, you know? There's tons of games. I'm finding new ones every day. I'm drowning in the damn things.
I think sometimes it's the difference between, like, with what we do, right? With, like, making YouTube videos and streaming and all of that. It's looking at the games that are available and the difference between this is a game that I would like to play with people watching me, and this is a game that I would rather die than play with people watching me, right? Like I can say to myself, man, I should really check out the new stuff in XCOM 2. No one will ever fucking see that happen. That will never see the light of day.
Which is amazing because XCOM 2 is a great streaming game. I played
Not for me.
No, and yet you stream a bunch of Darkest Dungeon. That's the thing that gets me. There's similar principles behind those two games.
No, what?
Yes.
Any game that's like tactics, I'm like, bye. I'm out. Shut it down.
Yeah. Oh man.
I don't need people telling me I'm shitty at XCOM. I know I'm shitty at XCOM. I don't need other people to tell me that.
I'm sure some of it comes down to that, but like I don't ever stream. So I don't think about it that way, but I mean, everybody thinks they're the greatest thing in the world whenever they're in chat. So usually you just ignore that and then you can move on. I mean, that's usually when somebody just, you know, inflated ego, that's fine. But if you're not enjoying it, then yeah, you have to look at what you want to do versus what maybe your watchers want to see. Luckily, I don't have that issue. So I don't even want to. The issue you just described sounds terrible, to be honest. Like, well, it does. I want to play games and talk about them and not with, will people enjoy watching me do it the entire way through? Because we all play games in a different way. If I want to read this journal, let me fucking read the journal and shut your mouth in the chat.
Preach that shit.
Jesse could talk about that for hours when it comes to doing that.
Yeah, it just sucks. I don't like to hear anybody say they don't like or that they worry about that kind of stuff. But I mean, I get it.
I don't worry about them not enjoying watching me. I'm worried about them telling me I suck and then me not enjoying it. I would rather, if there's a game that I know I will enjoy more on my own, I will play it on my own. Like everybody in the world can sit there and tell me, oh, you should really play Hellblade on stream. It's a really good streaming game. But I don't want to because I want to like experience Hellblade like in a closed situation with fucking headphones on and just like zone in, you know?
Yeah, I was surprised to hear that people thought Hellblade was a good streaming game. It's like, yeah, maybe for one run through, and that's already been done. Code Carnage did the run through. That's it.
I swear to shit, Hellblade, every single puzzle in that game is finished by going 2 inches farther to the right than you thought you were supposed to go. If there's any game in the world where somebody cross-eyed made that fucking game, I want to kill them. I've never wanted to crush somebody's nuts as much as when I was playing, and there is a cross. There is a puzzle with a cross and a dude, and you're supposed to line it up. And I am telling you, I was in that spot 40,000 times, and I have never been so frustrated. I was just going like, what is wrong with this game? And then you move slightly, and it's like, ta-da-da. You've always been here. Oh.
You did it. Good job, my dude. That took you a long time. I'm sorry that this puzzle was so confusing.
Yeah, that'd be awesome if an achievement came up.
Like a Dodger popped up like, hey, you did it.
A little achievement. Yeah. Good job, Slowpoke.
I'm so proud of you.
That's why I'm going to keep you in a jar and just open it.
I'm one of the voices in her head.
Oh,
You're
dear
doing
God.
such a good job. I'm so proud of you. Wow.
None of the voices say that.
I would stand out quite a bit.
Do you know what would rock if that game had asked you questions like, how much do you weigh? How tall are you? And then teased those things, like directly teased you like, okay, fatty, continue. I just started calling you. That would be awesome. Just depression the game.
Dodger,
Depression.
I know you don't want to play through, but I think you should. But do it with your voice as one of her voices. Like, hey, don't listen to these. They're assholes. Everything's great.
That's a video
That's
idea.
not gonna happen because you've already told me that there are times where there's a voice that just tells you to run, and I'll panic.
No, I'm saying
I'll be role playing as this voice, and then I'll hear a voice say run, 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 and I'll be like, fuck.
I'm saying like play through it once on your own so you know everything, and then go back and just re-record like run, and you're like, no, you don't even need to run. There's nothing here.
That's a great video idea.
Fine, baby girl. You're
totally
doable. Fine. Don't even worry about it.
Baby girl.
Don't panic.
Oh man.
So I realize it may take some effort, but you know that it sounds like a good video idea. Just oh man. We've got about 8 minutes before break. Anyone want to fire some quick fire stuff into the whatever we're calling it these days? I don't know. What you got into the ether, as it were? Because I still have more, but you guys are free to throw anything else.
I played Aztez a little bit.
Yes, good, isn't it?
Yeah, good game.
That's a cool ass game.
Yeah.
Steam really wants me to know that TB loved that game and suggests it as a curator. Every fucking time I open Steam, it's like, this is a game that a curator that you follow really thinks you should play. And I'm like, God.
They're putting more emphasis on it. If Jesse, you played it. I've already done a video on it, so I want to hear what you guys say about it.
I think it's so because I'm a big dum-dum, I decided to just go through and play just to play. And only after I said, I'm going to take a look at the tutorial, did I realize the complexity of the combat in that game is like up here. It's super cool. I was unaware of all the things you could do. And once I learned it, I was like going around knocking guys up into the air, slamming them down on the ground, sucking their, like sacrificing them was so cool. Just like cutting off their head and shit. Oh my God. The things you can do in that game are on point. I loved it. I was so happy that it was as violent as I needed it to be. I was like, yes.
And where you get more than one weapon, and you can switch between the mid-combo to keep the combo going. Oh my God. It was made by a guy who's clearly like big into esports fighting games, because it's got everything from that in it.
Yeah, I think it's a game that I can't recommend enough, but I would simply say before you play and you think you know what it is, literally go through the entire tutorial. It has the mechanics at its core of like Dynasty Warriors, like XXXY, XXXXX, like it has that, but then it has another level to it because of the two-dimensional aspect where you're knocking guys up and around into walls. So you can kick them away, you can drag them towards you.
Juggle.
Yeah, you can like hit a guy, juggle his ass up even more. The fact that I sacrificed a dude midair was the coolest thing.
That's what I wanted to. I was waiting to see if you were going to mention that. I didn't
even know you could do that.
Yeah, you can combo, and you can basically right in midair if you're hurt. You can sacrifice. It is so fucking awesome.
So good. I was so happy it existed. I was like, every time you realize you could do something new to these guys, I was like, oh my God. And then I do it for a while. And like, what else can I do? It's very cool. I loved everything about it. I would definitely recommend it if you're looking for a game where it's just like, I just want to kill dudes because fuck it.
You want to brawl.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Carrot, you did a buy, wait, never touch on this. What was your general opinion on it?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, there was a couple issues that with most games there are, but yeah, that game is the same. What Jesse said is it's one of the few games where State of Decay technically was a mess, but it did this as well. There's a couple games where I feel that as I'm playing them, they're continually giving me new experiences within the same core gameplay, and that is exactly how I felt with that. And it wasn't just connected to unlocks, because all games do that. It was actually just connected with the enemy grouping as well, which was highly intelligent. So when you would start and you were against just low level enemies, they were all on the ground, and then you get an air enemy, and then you get multiple air enemies, and then you get guys who are on the ground who are super strong, who can't be hurt unless you counter them. Those kind of encounters. It was fantastic, man. It was, and I liked the strategy element. I actually thought it was fun to do.
It was, it's a little bit of a digital board game layer on top of it to contextualize all the brawling. That was badly explained. You want to talk about tutorials in that game? You spend 10 minutes explaining literally every fighting move that you could never possibly remember in one sitting, and then never bother to explain the layer on top of it at all. That's all in just a text manual, a literal PDF that's in the game. That could do with improvement, but holy crap. If you want a game about kicking the living crap out of some Aztec dudes, that's that game. That is that game, and it's bloody
cool.
and messy.
It gave me the exact same vibe that I have whenever I play a Dynasty Warriors game, which is like,
yeah,
I can kill a million dudes and just feel fine. Like it's a cool kind of stress relieving game, because even though it's challenging in some parts, most of the time I felt like I was an overpowered badass, and I want that in games sometimes. I just want to like brutalize some dudes and be like, yo. So
love it. It's good. One of many games lately that's been good. That one, people completely ignored it.
Oh, did it not sell well?
No. Let me check Steam Spy.
You know what? Do you think it's the art? Because here's the
I guess the name.
To the point to where,
oh my god! It's only shifted at 1,500 copies in a month.
Really?
No, there's no way.
That's fucking awful.
That is awful. That sucks.
I mean, they could cut the price. I mean, it is $20. I think maybe 10 would have been a better price point for that one. Jesus. Yeah. And that's after, you know, I did the stream. I've done the promo. You've done the promo. We've just now mentioned it on the podcast. It hasn't been getting enough attention from enough people. You've got to reach that critical coverage mass on something that's not known. I think the name kills it too. Aztez isn't even a name. Like, here's an interesting example. I was comparing how my Suggests Aztez video did on views versus my Suggests Space Tyrant, right? Aztez in a week and a half has done 83,000 views. Space Tyrant went over 100,000 views. Actually, it hasn't quite gone there. It's 95,000 in less than 2 days.
Because to be fair, Space Tyrant is very on brand for you. Yeah. The title itself combined with who you are.
I'll tell you a little bit about Space Tyrant. I loved it. This is the game we almost missed out on because the release segment just works that way. It's super on theme. Theme is great in that game. 90s Bucky O'Hare, cartoon, mega space villain. And you're against the Senate. And you are not the Senate, but they are the Senate. So the Senate is influencing planets to rebel against you. And you're like, I am the Space Tyrant. I will not allow this to happen. And even the menu, his giant Space Tyrant hands move up and down. It's like, ah ha ha. There's different kinds of races you can play. I'm an evil rabbit overlord right now. Again, Bucky O'Hara right out of the gate. You have a death ray button, and it's your fucking finger. It comes in from the outside the screen when you press the death ray, just obliterates a bunch of ships. God. It's good. It's a light 4X. Very
How much
light.
Is it, TB?
Let's see. Let me check that for
19,
you.
19, I assume?
Yeah, I think so. Current early access, 20. There's enough content. There's enough content in there to justify it right now, I would say, in its current state. But of course, you can keep waiting. I think for people who are not big into 4X strategy, but like the idea of quick galactic domination, like Dodger, you're not big into 4X strategy at all.
That's literally what I was going to ask. Is like, are you saying it's a light 4X, meaning somebody who isn't great at 4X but wants to play it would still do okay and enjoy it?
Yep. And I think the art style is wonderful for what it is.
Yeah,
I genuinely do. It's colorful and clean and cartoony, and the buttons are like a giant oppress button or obliterate button and all that kind of good stuff. It is pretty much wonderful. I like it a lot. Good stuff. We're approaching break time. And we have lots of news to cover, so we better get to it. When we come back after the break, what we'll be digging out at Gamescom and all the other crazy stuff that's been going on, including the least complete edition in gaming history. I can't wait. This'll be fun. We'll be right back after the break, folks. You're watching the Co-Optional Podcast. Don't go anywhere. Back to the Co-Optional Podcast. We're going to dive right into the news because we've got a bunch of it right here. Gamescom is abound, and that means lots and lots of announcements, news, and all that kind of thing. God, which to start with first? There's a lot
Age of Empires
here.
4.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So we'll do a blitz on game announcements that have come through. Age of Empires 4, one of the biggest deals.
Yes.
It's going to be done by Relic.
Yeah.
Some people are okay with that. Some people not so much, because Relic just got off Dawn of War 3, which is, I'm pretty much confident saying, widely considered to be the worst of the three. It was not that well received. I didn't like it that much. I preferred both of the previous ones, even though they were very different games.
What, like what? What was missing? I didn't even get a chance to barely play it.
So a lot of it was down to the character that was in Dawn of War 1 and 2 was down to the fact that they really captured the feel of 40K and the visceral violence of it all. And a lot of that was done through sync kills, and it was these great finishing maneuvers and everything like that. They took those out completely because they're like, we want to make an esports game. There's your first mistake. They introduced a bunch of weird map-like esportsy gamey objectives. Like, there's a power generator and the base is shielded and you've got to do that. None of that makes any sense within the 40K lore, by the way. None whatsoever. The graphic style I didn't like. It was sort of garishly colorful in a way that wasn't particularly attractive to the eye. The campaign was a glorified tutorial, whereas the campaign in Dawn of War, particularly in Winter Assault, and they had the meta campaign in Dark Crusade where you had the hex-based stuff with all the races, and Dawn of War 2 was kind of like you leveled up your guys and they got loot, which was pretty cool too. So it was two different ways of doing it. Dawn of War 3 tried to split the difference and ended up pleasing neither crowd. So that's why, and it's flopped flat on its face. There's not much of a player base left. It's dead on arrival, basically. So, then, but the thing is, that's our failure in a list of a lot of very good Relic games, right? So, can they make a more traditional RTS? Because really, they've never actually made one before. Company of Heroes is not a traditional RTS. Dawn of War 2 is not a traditional RTS. Maybe.
And was half their team working on that, and that's why Dawn of War wasn't?
You know, that might be an interesting idea.
That happens a lot of times where you end up talking to a developer, and after the game releases, they'll be like, well, yeah, only half of us were working on this one, while the other half are teching on the others. For me, I can't wait. Age of Empires is fantastic. I fucking love those games. And so the remake too of 2 and 3, right? I think they're remaking 2 and 3. They announced at the same time with the same tech as 4. So I'm stoked. I cannot wait.
I am intrigued. I'm very intrigued to see where that goes. Faye, you remember Faye that we said, where the fuck did that go?
Yes, where the fuck did that go?
The one that's just FE?
Yeah.
Or...
Yes.
Yeah. Or Fee, or whatever you want to call it. Switch in early 2018 has been confirmed.
Everybody who's played it at Gamescom and said that it's great.
Good. Glad to hear that.
So.
They confirmed the PC version of Final Fantasy 15. Apparently, it's going to be a gigantic download, maybe one of the biggest we've ever seen. We're talking over 100 gigs, possibly, for this thing.
Isn't there also a Final Fantasy 15 thing coming to the Switch? Or is that just a rumor?
I don't know.
I haven't heard of anything.
I know that co-op is coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
See how that goes.
Didn't they say? I don't know if you guys know, but didn't they say that this download's so big because they're putting the original 4K texture resources in for 4K gaming on the PC, which is cool. If they can get that game running solid at 4K, it'd be great.
Yeah, these downloads are getting very, very large, but you know, that's sort of the way that it is right now, especially if you're going to include those big 4K textures. I think what's upsetting for a lot of people is that a lot of people don't have 4K. And as a result, they would rather have a version that wasn't. So the hope is maybe release 2 versions on digital, one that doesn't have that big giant ass thing, make it an optional high-res texture pack. Yeah. That's a way to get around a lot of that. What else? We had... there's a new expansion for City Skylines coming out. That game's still going strong. Oh. You want an example of a good game with a mod community? City Skylines is definitely one of them. So that's good. Outside of that, a lot of other things that we were already familiar with. The Dogs and Cats expansion for Sims 4. That was eventually going to happen, in it?
Dogs and Cats.
Of course it is, yeah.
I love how they name their shit. They're like, yeah, Sims Dogs. We're done.
Okay, glad to hear it. I mean, that's pretty much what they promised.
Yep.
There's a lot of games announced. Those were sort of the big highlights, I think. There's been more trailers with stuff that already existed. Big weird stuff. So they announced Battlefield 1 Revolution Edition, Revolution Complete Edition.
Okay.
What
does that mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, God. All right.
That's awesome.
Complete edition. Okay. Of course, you're well aware Battlefield 1 came out last year. They had a $60 release version and a $100 version. $100 version came with Premium, which said, here's the Season Pass for all 4 DLC. They only just released the first DLC, almost a year after release. Slow, very slow development on that. They have now announced, and I think it's actually available maybe right now, or very soon anyway, Battlefield 1 Revolution Complete Edition is $60 with the Season Pass in it. But they say it's a complete edition, yet 3 of the DLC that are in that complete edition aren't out yet.
¿Por qué?
Jesse, if you were ever going to break out the recent maybe I'm old, now's the fucking time. Do it.
Okay,
Get your emotes ready, chat.
Exactly.
Maybe I'm old, but that doesn't make enough sense for me to justify using maybe I'm old because I still don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't, like, I can't even old people will be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Wait, so 1 DLC is out.
Of the 4, yeah.
But they're releasing a thing that's another $60 with the other DLC. Do you get that DLC if you have the Season Pass?
Yes.
What? But you don't get the... What?
If you like light speed.
If you bought the $100 edition with the Season Pass last year, you get the 4 DLC in the Season Pass, but only one of them is out right now. If you buy the complete edition as of yesterday, you get that same thing, but for $40 less than the people who paid for it last year, and yet it's called Complete Edition, but 3 of the 4 Season Pass DLC aren't even fucking out yet.
I really, really want to go find someone who got the $100 version and just, like, interview them and be like, how pissed are you right now? Because if I had done that, I'd be like, it's almost like EA has to teach everyone the same lesson over and over again. Like,
stop
they're gonna
buying Season Passes.
EA's just gonna fuck with you. They do it
Scam.
all the
It's
time.
almost like consumers don't learn ever.
Yeah, they're gonna have to be taught through constant punishment from EA and Ubisoft's bullshit, right?
I can't, like, God, that can't be, it just doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't, I can't wrap my head around it. It's like, it's an enigma wrapped in a riddle. Why the fuck is it a thing? Like, it doesn't make sense. Why? I need
just an incredible way to piss off your audience, because Battlefield 1's not been doing well. I don't know if you've noticed, the player base has gone wow on PC in particular. BF4 is still doing really well on PC because it's a well-supported, well-fleshed-out game after it was worked on for several years after release.
So the justification here is that if you bought the $100 version, okay, I get the 60. God, this is gonna drive me crazy. The $60 version this is the new thing that's like, hey, we want people to get back into the game. We need new people in the game. I get that. If you had the $100 version, you get the. I just don't know what you get, guys. I can't.
You got nothing. Nothing is what you got.
That's the thing is you're literally buying nothing.
You bought nothing
extra at this time.
Yeah, because 3 out of those 4 packs are not out. So you got basically nothing.
I can't. It's like,
here's your car. We'll ship you the tires later.
I can't comprehend this at all. It doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense.
People got suckered. Stop buying season passes. It's even worse than pre-ordering because you're buying shit for a game that you don't know if you'll like yet. But you also don't know that you like the shit that you're buying for the game that you don't know if you'll like yet. That's bonkers.
I can't.
Here's
what I know to be true. Next Star Wars Battlefront comes out. They're going to sell a $100 version of the game. People can buy every one of those fucking things.
They already have. I mean, there's no season,
guys.
It doesn't have season pass, but
2's going to be released and 1's DLC won't be done. It just feels really weird. I mean, it is definitely one of those situations where I'm going to be buying 2 and they'll be all, your DLC for number 1 is coming your way. And you're like, well, fuck.
Nobody will care.
I mean,
is it though?
Well, with Battlefront, we're talking about, don't get confused between Battlefront and Battlefield as confusing as it is. Yeah. But with Battlefront, of course, they abolished the season pass, right?
Yeah, right.
Right.
But they put loot crates in instead. So, which actually give you in-game advantages. So that's apparently the trade. We have to eat a shit sandwich or a shit burger. Which do you prefer?
Yeah.
I can't. I'm sorry. I can't wrap my head around it. I just can't do it. I can't. I'm tried.
So tired of
really
AAA games.
I can't figure it out. I can't. It doesn't make sense.
Holy shit! So how long is that release schedule then? So we're talking about the DLC took how long for the first package?
For the first one, which was the French one, is like you shall not pass.
Yeah.
Battlefield 1, you shall not pass release date.
Because I think we're looking at. Oh my God! It's going to be
March the 14th. Hey, very nice. I don't know if anyone's done it yet, but
don't do that.
It's nice.
Don't let her jump in with that.
Very
and then walk away.
nice.
She's like, I'm done. I nailed it. I'm good.
I did it.
in the
Gets him
podcast.
and
We're done.
Bye, everybody.
Podcast over. See ya.
4.5 months to get They Shall Not Pass out after release, because bear in mind it was early November release. It was late. It was for worldwide. It was late March release. The second one, which I think is In the Name of the Tsar, is not out yet. That is September, maybe? I think. Possibly. Yeah. And they have 2 more after that. God knows how long that's going to take.
You're close to 2 a year. That is strangely slow.
And they're not big. They're not expansion pack size. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I don't know if I should go back to Battlefield 1, I have to admit. I was done after a month of that game. 40, 50 hours in. Maybe I got my money's worth, but I've played other Battlefield games way longer than that. I'm pretty sure I've got 100, 200 hours in Bad Company 2.
This is the real thing. Whoa. So I went to go look this up because I needed to know what was in the Battlefield Revolution big super pack, right?
Okay.
Sure.
Check this shit out. All right. So yeah, base game, premium pass, you get the 4 the DLC. Here's the real kicker. At the very bottom, after it's like you get 14 superior battle packs and 14 dog tags, very bottom, priority position in server queues.
Yep. I think they're being a little optimistic about that.
This is on their website. This is on their website saying you get positioned in server
Premium's
queues?
done that for ages, I think. That's what Premium's done for the last couple of games. Obviously, at this point, that's pretty damn optimistic.
That's my problem. The rest of it, I don't give a shit about, but that shit's not cool.
Yeah, that's some dumb shit.
Yeah, I think it was in Battlefield 1, a Battlefield Hardpoint, except nobody played on those servers, so you never needed it. Yeah, Battlefield Hardline, sorry. I don't remember the name of it. It was that irrelevant.
Yeah, it was not great.
No, it was not.
So they're saying that. Okay, so I have a question.
What you got?
This version will give you premium, whatever, like access in the server. Does having the old version with the season pass give you?
I believe so.
I need to go look that up now.
You do. Yeah.
Or are you saying if you spend $100, you'd have to spend another $60 to like?
No.
I hope that's not the way it is.
No, they're not that insane. No.
Well, who knows? They're basically reselling us. It's like they stole something from us and sold it back in a different pot.
Kinda, yeah. Oh god, it's rough. No, I'm going back to Battlefield 4. That's good now. It's very good compared to its launch version. It's a super good game. Okay, moving on from that. So, more EA bullshit. Mass Effect, Andromeda, single player. There will be no single player DLC, despite the fact there are giant plot holes in that game that desperately need to be filled. They evidently
everybody's been kind of excusing issues with the single player, going, it's fine because DLC's going.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And I'm still one of the standouts that says it's a flawed game. I still enjoyed a lot about Andromeda, and I explain why, because I really engaged with the fantasy of being a frontiersman and seeing that colony build kind of before my eyes because of work I did was a very empowering fantasy to me. And the combat's really, really good. Compared to the previous games, much better. But the multiplayer is where the money is. They know that. but they don't want to provide any single-player DLC, so there's no closure in that game. The game is full of holes. If you love Quarians, you're gonna really hate that fact. I don't want to spoil any more about that. They could have made it better. They could have brought it back from the brink. That's free to play now. 5 years too late. Anyway, so, they could have brought it back by adding very, very good DLC to it, but they failed to do that.
And we've seen like stunning failures now. So Microsoft decides they're gonna do the Microsoft fucking Ultimate Master Chief Edition and completely screw that up. And then you have these guys with the brand new Mass Effect, and they completely screw that up. It's weird that you have these titles that are like the linchpin titles. Because I mean, this was the return. This was supposed to be, hey, there's a reason why you're not Shepard, because we're cool and we're telling you that you're going to be cool. And instead, they got only one part of that right. And I mean, honestly, I guess I disagree with TB. I think that it was completely unacceptable to release. So there were so many actual bugs, like physical bugs with that game, that it was disgusting to actually try to play through and talk to people, game killing bugs, whatever, which I hate. But it was unacceptable, man. It's their thing. Like, I mean, how did they let that ever happen?
The thing is that BioWare's been doing that for ages, and people just haven't been calling them out on it.
True.
It's just this point that people finally said enough was enough. Dragon Age 2 was a fucking shit pit on launch.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Worse than that. Inquisition had a shit ton of bugs and performance problems on launch as well. This is not new for BioWare. It's just Andromeda. Everyone seemed to wake up to the fact that BioWare's been doing this for the last 3 or 4 games.
Well, I think because there was a lot more that people didn't like in the game, so
probably
they couldn't excuse like, oh, well, the story and this and that is really good, so fuck it. Like, we're just
because these guys are so attached to those characters, like Rex and everybody. Like, yeah, we'll excuse almost everything because Rex is cool. Well, there was some cool characters in Andromeda as well, but it wasn't enough. And I mean, you're not wrong by any stretch. That game was released in a messy, messy, messy state, unacceptably messy. The facial animations were a joke. There's no doubt about that. A lot of the bugs I encountered were primarily cosmetic that didn't really stop my progress. I did have performance problems on day one. They fixed it in a day one hotfix. Otherwise, it ran fine. But it's going to be your mileage may vary. Some people ran into some horrendous game-killing bugs in that. I avoided most of them. I was fortunate in that respect. But you're right. It wasn't. It was that was months out from proper release. They should have held it. There's no doubt.
I remember we were playing it and for the review, and it was one of those. I think it was the first or second planet we were driving, and the bad guys were just falling from the sky. So like the ship wasn't, and
the ship wasn't spawning.
In my review, I have multiple videos of like me driving, and all of a sudden, just bad guys. It's like, and I said something about rain and bad guys. But that's exactly the kind of, not to be. I know that there's rarely a dev who wakes up and says, I want to make a shitty game. That's there might be a person on your team who sucks, but that's any company in the world. Yeah. Right. But the fact is that a group of people got together and sorry, but fuck you if you looked at that and said, oh, this is good enough.
This will be fine.
Because your version of good enough is not acceptable to the majority of people, and you did it with your major IP. If this was I know I shouldn't say the major IP, but it is true that it's their major IP. I mean, it's a big deal. And
it is, yeah.
It's stunningly bad. It's just, even if it is fun, I'm just saying the drop off.
Nobody could have released that and thought those facial animations were going to be acceptable to anybody. Yeah. Nobody.
And
the
number of people that ran into the bug where you just walk around looking like you shit your pants is like too many. Like that obviously happened in quality control, right? Like,
yes. What quality control?
Well, QA. I mean, that's what I don't want to talk about, but I know some people in QA.
Dark time of your life.
It's a dark time for them right now, because I'm sure a lot of them were like, listen, we have these bugs, and people above them were all, so. Yeah, that sucks even worse.
I also think it's a game that, like a lot of games, promised more than it could possibly deliver.
Yeah.
The whole premise was like, you're gonna play Mass Effect, but like travel to 1 million fucking planets, and you're gonna go do this and explore. And that's the hype going into that, I understand why people reacted so negatively, because they were promised the world, and what they got was like was not even close, not even remotely close. So I can understand why people reacted so terribly to it, and it deserved it. Stop trying to hype your fucking games up. It's like, yeah.
Yep. Well, that sucks. Guess I'm not even gonna bother finishing it now. You know,
I'm very sad because
I'm so happy I didn't.
I got 37 hours in, but yeah, I would have been pretty salty if I'd finished. Like, wait, what the fuck happened to this and that, and where the hell's all of this? Yeah, bollocks to that.
Yeah, I've never been so happy to quit a game early. I'm like, thank God I got out of there while the game was good.
That's the right call.
Because
that's the right call in a lot of games these days. Just have your fill and then leave. Don't play the rest.
I still remember the first hour of Assassin's Creed Unity, honestly wondering if they sent me beta code. I was like, there's no chance. There is zero chance this is final.
Oh, God.
Literally playing that game and watching the switch between like
the different
graphic
LOD.
levels.
Yeah,
yes,
LOD.
It's like, the fuck?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh man, when they patched it in the
like,
it would also change male and female, by the way. I did a glitch video, and it would change like your clothes. It was there was a lot of them, and Master Chief was the same way when it first was released.
That was fucked for a year, and that wasn't even aesthetic problems. That was multiplayer matchmaking problems, super severe.
The core of the game, severe.
They got away with a lot of shit with that one. They got way less than they deserved. Oh, did you encounter the fun epilepsy water that was in one of the early Unity patches? That was a fun one. That was great. Yeah, you went into the game, and all the water basically gave you an epileptic fit because it was flashing. It's like, my eyes!
God. No.
God, the goggles to nothing. Just horrible. Seeing something that's not so horrible and something to do with your eyes. Nice. Double segue. Love it. HTC Vive.
Eclipse.
No! That's not good for your eyes at all, Donald. What are you doing?
Donald Trump.
God damn it, Donald. You can't even do that right. The Vive. $200 off on the Vive now. There was obviously a price cut of Oculus, which has helped a lot. That Oculus was obviously lagging behind in third place. And the Vive's now being cut down to $600, which is a bit more palatable. Still quite expensive, but it is the most advanced system that they've got at the moment. Good. The competition's heating up. We need that. It's a very expensive investment, and as the price goes down to manufacture the parts, better. So I'm happy to see that. The new Killing Floor game just came out, Incursion. It's apparently quite good. A Doom VFR, which I'm very much looking forward to. That's coming. The Teleporter Doom, where they've implemented the teleporter into the actual game mechanics and the story. Instead of like, oh, you can teleport move. Well, they give you an item that explains that. That's neat. So I'm looking forward to playing some of that. That's going to be pretty legit. There's some nice VR stuff coming on. It's getting... Even if you don't just buy it for Star Trek Bridge Crew and for Superhot, there are still now more games that are worth playing on VR now, so...
Bridge Crew. It's fantastic.
Bridge Crew is amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. Just wish it wasn't the Abrams verse, man.
Yeah, me too. When it comes to VR, so I have all three for testing, for doing the reviews. Do you find...
I have all three, too, for porn.
For porn.
Well, you can't get porn on the PlayStation one.
Do you guys do you find the PlayStation one? Do you find the PlayStation or do you find any of them that have a bad enough view that I guess the price difference should be as big as it is? Because it seems to me if they were all 300, we'd be in a lot better shape.
I mean,
I don't see the Vive being that much better.
It's the room scale. That's what you're paying for the lighthouses.
I was gonna say, you're
lighthouses,
paying for...
Yeah.
Yeah.
You still don't have true room scale on Oculus. I tried to set up. I'm building a room downstairs to be the VR room, and I tried temporarily to put my Oculus in the living room. I'm like, okay, I've got space here. You'd be surprised at how far you cannot put those sensors out. Like the lighthouses can be across a whole room, and they'll get you. The Oculus sensors, nope. I had to move them like 20 fucking times to get them right. It's just a square. Like, Oculus is either seated play or standing and dodging and weaving play. Full room scale, not a thing yet really for that. Not designed for that. And the PlayStation VR is not that either. So that's what you're paying extra money for. If you care about room scale, Vive is really the only way to go with that right now. Jesse, you've had a lot more experience with PSVR. What you got on that?
I mean, here's the thing. kind of dig PSVR. I think it's just, I don't know if simpler is the right word, but it's sort of just all there, and the games that they've created for it work how they're supposed to, like working as intended. And a lot of times when I use a Rift, for example, like sometimes the game is a little wonky.
Vive in particular, with all those early access games, there's a lot of junk there.
And I you know what, when it comes out on PlayStation, at least you know that they consider it a done game, and so you get what you get. And so far I haven't had a bad experience with like a PSVR game. So you know, I'll put that out there. I know quality wise it's not going to be anywhere near as awesome looking as something you can do on your PC, but with that said, you know, I kind of like what they got. So
it's accuracy for me. You know, the PlayStation Move is literally PS3 level hardware. It's pretty much 10 years old. Compared to Oculus Touch or the Vive ones, it is not even close in terms of accuracy. What you can do with both of those is incredible. You can't do that really with PSVR. But as you said, PSVR has a highly curated lineup, and pretty much what they have made for it is good. Oculus's lineup is quite curated on their store, which is good. Right. You're pretty much probably guaranteed a good experience for anything you get from the store. I haven't run into anything that's obviously bad. I have definitely run into things that are obviously too expensive for what they are. And Vive's a free-for-all right now, you know, with Steam.
Right.
That's their approach. So, a lot of junk. A lot of junk.
I really feel like I was actually hinging on it being much bigger. That's why I got them. I'm really depressed by... I wanted to see them come in at least 300 cheaper. And I mean, I know they'd lose a ton of money, but it's like everybody should have known that that's what they needed to do. I would have loved to have seen it.
Shout out really quick to chat. Robo Recall is a good game.
Oh god,
that's true.
Damn fun.
Yep. I might tonight go play Incursion just before my next chemo, just so I have the chance to. I'm told it's great. I'm looking forward to seeing how that works out with I'll probably use Oculus Touch. Like I said, the setup... Also, people have been mentioning room scale. It's like, hey, I've got room scale. It's kind of how you define room scale. You know, to me, 3 meters by 3 meters isn't room scale. Like, that's a bit small. Like, Vive can do a lot more than that. And their next iteration, because they're iterating past the lighthouses into something else, is going to be even more capable than that. So, yeah. I'm still a believer in VR, but it's the early adopters tax, right? Yeah. It's early tech, it's expensive, it's cool, it's going down in price, and that's good. That's the second wave of people who are now getting into it because it's a bit cheaper.
Wireless.
Yeah, that's the big challenge.
Deal. That's
Get that latency. Deal. Yeah, you see those fucking backpacks where it's like, there's a PC in here. That's our wireless. Like, no, mate, no. Yeah. Oh dear. Cool. Yeah. I think there was one other piece of news I did want to tackle, and I'm trying to remember what exactly it was. We did mention Brink is going free to play a little late. I'll defend Brink to the death.
I don't think that it's gonna make much of a difference.
No.
Yeah, right.
Dirty Bomb. It's weird that it's right now as well, because Dirty Bomb just did the next big update. Dirty Bomb is not as cool as Brink for the movement. Brink had the really cool parkour that Dirty Bomb doesn't really have, but I think Dirty Bomb in general is just a more solid shooter. And it's free, which helps. I want to see what Brink's... Let's find out what Brink's player list is right now. I don't want to. Do you
guys ever wonder if developers are like cursing the ability to check player base?
Hey,
like sometimes
probably.
they gotta be just
shit. Like, dude, look at this. Go to
3?
Steam charts, look it up. Look at that flat line up to 861 players now. Flat line up right until then.
Huh.
There you go. Oh, I guess it's revived for a little bit. We'll see how long that stays around.
It and Lawbreakers.
It is actually higher than Lawbreakers. Oh,
I know.
Don't do this. Not like this.
Sorry. Exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
So sad.
Right out of Matrix. Not like this.
And not like this.
I saw it coming a mile away, but it's still sad because it's good.
Yeah, very sad.
It's actually good. And Quake Champions Early Access is now available. Oh god, you are so dead. So much. Yeah, I think that's kind of about it in terms of the big news at the moment.
Yeah.
Not really a lot going on there. There'll be more stuff out of Gamescom, no doubt, as we... Oh, of course. SNES Classic Preorders finally went up in the US.
Oh, yeah, and they're already gone. They're all gone.
Yeah, and what they said they would probably do, hey, we'll totally have enough and we'll make sure it's limited to one per customer. They didn't. They didn't do it.
Of course.
So they're already up on eBay. Idiots! Again?
I know a couple of different people who went to buy one and didn't put their credit card information in fast enough and didn't get it.
I know.
It's just like
bought multiples. So on behalf of me who tried to buy one, fuck you.
Fuck you.
fuck you.
They shouldn't have... Why did they even allow that? They weren't going to sell out if they just limited to one per customer? Come on. Yeah, it's been out in the... I got mine in the EU because, you know, I'm still not sure whether to keep it or give it as a gift maybe to my brother or something for around Christmas time or his birthday, but I don't know. It's...
Nintendo's just mastered reselling you your own childhood memories so well now.
Pretty much.
It's just a plastic box of your nostalgia. It's like a little bit of my spirit. Yeah. I'm so tired of them right now that it's difficult to even talk about some of the classic stuff because
but like,
it's on purpose.
Bruh, Final Fantasy 6 is on that shit, and it don't matter. I'm gonna get it.
What? Final Fantasy 6 has been on like 10 different platforms up to this point.
Yeah. It was best on SNES.
Was it though?
Best on SNES.
Best on SNES.
I think that's objectively wrong, but okay.
It was best on SNES.
God.
It's objectively right. Subjectively
no. Oh yeah, and they did that. They announced the Xbox One X Scorpio, which is like their day one launch. I gotta admit, that black and green glow, it's kind of neat. Looks quite nice.
I'm not necessarily sold on the games they're trying to get us to buy with it, though. Some of those games, I'm like,
what were the games?
I don't want to buy it again. Oh my god, they're what's the name?
Minecraft. It's basically just Minecraft. Let's call it what it is.
Okay. So you can buy a Scorpio with Minecraft. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, need a 4K machine to run Minecraft, definitely.
Next.
What is the hold on, we just talked about this a little bit ago.
ReCore.
Yeah, 4K
ReCore was bollocks.
Again, no one bought the first time, and now it's in 4K. Awesome. Oh god, what's the other the story one? Not Quantum Break. 4K.
That was also bollocks.
So like,
this is what a strange tactic here. Because normally you say, okay, we want people to buy the system, so we'll include it in a bundle with games that we know people really want to play. But instead, it's almost like they're saying, we know people will buy the Scorpio, so we're going to bundle it with games that nobody wants to play.
I think, honestly, I truly believe there is a dude at Xbox who's like, these games are phenomenal, and they just don't get it. And if we release it in 4K, then they'll see.
If we release it in 4K, that's how you fix it.
ReCore suddenly better.
I've already played Quantum Break at 4K on PC. It's still bad. Doesn't make it better.
Straight up a thought process of a villain in like an 80s cartoon, like, oh, then they'll see.
Space Tyrant. Microsoft Tyrant. It's just
Space Tyrant is literally...
listen to me.
Space Tyrant is literally better than any exclusive they had in the last 3 years on Xbox. I'm just going to put that out there. You want some... Yeah, there you go. That's a thought cat amongst opinions. Crackdown 3's delayed. Scalebound's cancelled. You got Forza. Forza's good, but it's also... the thing is, like, I don't know why I'm kind of so annoyed about it, because I don't like console exclusives. I don't want to own a console to play a game I'd rather play on PC because it's better. And honestly, Microsoft has said you can play all our games on PC now, and I'm actually genuinely happy about that. I'm just... The problem is they're killing their own system with it to some extent.
Yes. Truth. That is the... Xbox games I can play on PC, I play on PC. And crazier than that, if you were to go and look up my Xbox history right now, you would see that for the last 2 years, its purposes have been Netflix and HBO Go, and that is it. There is nothing on my console at home at all. There's nothing on it, and it's like I just play movies. Like I wish I had a reason to use it for something fun, but everything is like, fuck it, I can just play it on the computer.
Rare Replay, man. That's the only thing I turned it on for in the last 2 years, to play Rare Replay.
And I think Microsoft also, you know, long-term goal, whatever, they may understand, especially when you look at some of the exclusives PlayStation had. There was a couple that weren't from primary PlayStation developers, and they stated very clearly that the Xbox One original, its power wasn't up to snuff for them to do a platform version, but the X would be. Yes. So I do believe that
the X
Microsoft
is a powerhouse
just,
for what it is.
the Xbox is just, Microsoft's just saying, okay, now the third parties that didn't want to do this stuff, those exclusives are sort of gone away de facto just because our system will be more powerful. We already know that there's multiple developers who have said that just recently in the last couple months. But I think what probably happened is this cancellation of Scalebound and the delay of Crackdown made it so that there wasn't much else they could do. Like, we can get mad, but when you look at the situation from a business standpoint, you can't make up something that isn't there, or we'll have Master Chief Edition, the bullshit edition. So we don't want another crap. I'm, you know, it sucks, but it's all they have. So, you know, the thing is, like Dodger was saying, they just sort of packaged what they could and said, "Fuck it, we hope you."
For us, it doesn't even suck. That's the best thing, because, like you said, we can just play it on PC. The weird thing is they actually made a very consumer-friendly move, but we're, like, looking at it from a business standpoint. It's like, this is kind of, they're shooting themselves in the foot by being good to us. Yeah. As consumers, we should actually be applauding what Microsoft are doing right now, giving us options. There's one perspective that I keep not considering, because we're all so locked into PC, is this, right? You can play some pretty high-end PC quality games with a $500 box, and let's be honest, you cannot right now easily build a PC of that quality for that price at the moment. In a few years, totally. People are going to say, oh, you get a second hand and do this. No, that's not the point of PC. The point of PC, you can pay for more. Right? I can buy a $10,000 PC, which is completely excessive, but, you know, it's a supercar now. Or I could buy a $2,000 PC that'll outperform this, but for $500, you get a box that plugs in, plays, and performance-wise should beat the shit out of the PS4 Pro. Objectively, numerically.
It does, and I happen to, on the other job that I do, I happen to know almost exclusive console gamers. And they are all happy because I have friends who they do not want to turn a PC on. They're not being rude. They don't want to have anything to do with a PC other than work or a Mac. Maybe they have a Mac at work. They come home, and if the console is going to offer a certified stance on its performance, which Microsoft has to do for the consoles, they have to, you know, say this is the certified performance you're going to get. For everybody's going to be the same on the console. They don't have to do that for the PC. I think a lot of gamers are just like, well, okay, whatever, you know, I can get it. I also think, I swear to God, this is still a mistake. Everybody tells me I'm wrong, but I can't believe that some Xbox games you can buy and play the same copy on PC and Xbox against each other. I think Gears was one of them. I'm always blown away by that. It's like,
they do allow competitive now, right?
I know, but
you can opt out.
It just feels like that's not Microsoft. I expect them to hold me over the coals. And so the idea
they're
that they're
actually
all
really nice right now.
I know.
And we're shitting on them. Weird. That's not fair. We're actually mean, horrible people. Are we the bad guys? We're the bad guys now.
We've always been the bad guys.
Oh, no.
No.
I should have told.
I lived long enough to see myself become the villain.
I should have known for the black leather and the red iconography. God damn it, how did I not notice this?
I pre-ordered mine. While you guys are complaining on your podcast on a Tuesday, I'll just be playing my Xbox One X.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. If they make good shit for it, I will gladly promote the hell out of it. Speaking of consoles that I shit on, I'm gonna be real with you. I play them. I didn't want to. I thought it was garbage. I finally got one, and now I love it. I play the hell out of my Switch. Like,
yes.
Real talk. I'm not. I was like, oh, this is stupid. Who the fuck wants this stupid thing?
Hey, I argued for a year with you about that, and I was on the side of the Switch, and I was right.
But for me, when I originally saw it, the concept seemed very similar to like the Steam boxes and shit, where it's like, who's the audience for this? Right. And at least with this, the stuff that I played, I'm like, you know what? It's more than just a Zelda machine. That there's a lot of awesome indie shit coming out on it.
There's
an
indie box.
Games coming in the future. Like, I'm pretty excited about it, and more so than any of the other consoles I have right now. So I'll always admit when I'm wrong. So if Xbox comes with like games and kills it, I'll be the first one to be like, good job, guys. You nailed it.
Finally.
Yeah.
Took you long enough, but good job. Good job.
Yeah. The answer is who's the Switch for? Apparently everybody in
Absolutely.
a different way.
And here's the crazy thing. So just today, they just now announced that Fire Emblem Warriors is coming out on the 20th of October. And I was like, fuck, I'll be traveling then. And then I realized, it don't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's portable.
Yeah, I was really excited. I think that's something I never, for me, was like, I'll never use that garbage. Now I'm like, thank God I have it. That's so cool. So,
Anna.
Yeah.
As a follow-up to the are they planning on putting Final Fantasy 15 on the Switch, or is that just like a thing that I made up in my head? Apparently they really want to put it on the Switch, but like the conversation about it is sort of stagnant because they're not sure how to do it.
How? Yeah.
Well, they're doing a mobile version, which is like chibi character version.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe
Stream it from your PC version.
They're developing that thing. I'm not sure if it's Moonlight or something else that they develop.
Moonbeam or Moonlight?
Yeah, I think yeah. I have Moonlight and I run Moonlight on iOS, and if you have a very good internal home network, it runs really well.
Oh wow.
You know, you can go up to 4K on that shit, 60 frames. It's experimental, but I've done 1080p 60 streamed to my iPad, and then I use an MFE controller to play it with. Most games, good. The only one that really didn't, it's like, nope, was Bayonetta. Too much shit on the screen, way too fast, can't handle it. But yeah, anything else, yeah, you could do it. It's a great setup. It's really awesome if you have a good home network. All right, cool. We've covered all of that. That means we have about 10, 15 minutes at most to dive into the release list. I've been giving these guys a good couple of hours to have a look through and see if they can find anything interesting in our pile of crap. And Garrick, you've played every video game. So that means that you must have a few on this list, right?
I do. Thimbleweed Park.
Is that on
adventure?
Switch now?
PS4, I think was the release list. Yeah. Sorry, for some reason I didn't copy that part into the notes. But Thimbleweed Park, if anybody is a point and click fan, fucking game is amazing.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've
it's
heard
like
good things.
that is absolutely one of the best point and clicks in a couple years. So that is probably honestly, just looking at the list, that was probably my number one that I will probably replay again, in all honesty. I'll try to figure out a time to jump in there again.
Great.
Very excited for that.
Good to see port of that Switch. I mean, we're going to just keep saying now, why is the game not on Switch just over and over again? It takes time. Is Duck Game's not on Switch yet, is it? It's coming out PS4 on August the 22nd, though.
Right.
Put it on Switch. Put everything on Switch. It's really that simple. All of it. Bleeds on PS4. Mages and Mistralia is coming out on PS4. Super Combo Man Smash Editions on PS4 and Steam as of August the 22nd. Super Combo Man's really fun and very hard.
The Escapist 2?
Yes, that's out as of today. A lot of good vibes about that I've been hearing. I never played the original. Did you get around to playing it?
I did, yeah. Just actually because they told me about this. Very good.
Yeah. I love the idea of it. I just never got the time.
Right.
$20 right now for Escapist 2, getting some pretty damn positive reviews at the moment.
Yo,
no,
this is Dukes. I'm gonna be real with you. Not often do I look at a non-booby story-driven like novel game and be like, well, that looks cool. But Ghosts of Miami, I think, would be like your jam. I think that would be your jam.
Let's have a look at this. It's by a company called Pillow Fight.
Great.
That's perfect.
Off to a good start, I think.
Yep.
It's like
1986.
Oh, look at these cute girls.
I think this would be, you're like solving crimes and investigating stuff. I think you would dig it.
Aw, that looks adorable.
Look at the quality of this trailer is excellent. Compare it to the bullshit like art style of all these identikit copy-paste visual novels. The style of this is way better.
That's pretty cool.
I was going to recommend a game on this list that is not adorable and looks pretty terrifying.
What do you got?
Called White Day, a labyrinth named school. It's a Korean horror game.
Oh,
but
no.
like the screen caps look super like and if I don't know if it's the same in Korea, but in Japan, White Day is like the companion to Valentine's Day, where boys give chocolate to girls, whereas Valentine's Day is when girls give chocolate to boys.
All right.
So I'm wondering if it's like a stalker sort of story or something creepy like that.
Yeah, it seems...
I like that there are 3 DLC where all the girls are in bikinis.
Oh, for
I didn't even
fuck's
notice
sake.
that. God damn it. Beachwear costumes. Holy shit, you're right.
God
what the
damn
fuck?
It.
Oh my god, there's 26 horror costumes. Whoa, one of them makes the girl look like they have Halloween outfits. They all dress up in
Whoa, you're right.
Blue costumes. Oh my god.
There's one where the guy is in a heart apron.
Fuck that. Fuck. Oh, sorry, I'm just looking at the screenshots like, nope. Next.
It looks terrifying, right?
Game Squad. Oh my god.
There you go. Oh,
crazy.
Jesus.
Oh, holy shit.
Well, okay. Let's,
I didn't know that was the turn.
God damn it, it brought it up.
Yeah, you just were like, hey, I'm going to mention this one thing. Oh my god, what happened?
Yeah. Oh, what a mess.
Oh, everybody's in bikinis because apparently I can't ever recommend a game without it being anime
This
bullshit in
keeps
some
happening.
way by accident.
You know, deep down inside of you, that's eventually where it's gonna go.
Always.
Yeah.
I like a game. It's always where it goes.
What is Space Hero line? Crap. By the looks of it. Never mind. Wait, Alpha Bear. I've heard of this for some. Is this? Oh, it's a Spry Fox game. Yeah. So Spry Fox made Triple Town, and they also made what the hell is the name of that roguelite exploration game? Damned if I remember. But yeah, Alpha Bear is apparently really, really fun. It was originally on iOS. This is a PC version that doesn't have any of the free-to-play bullshit in it. This is probably worth a look if you're into word games, anagram games, all that kind of thing. Won Google's Best Indie Award in 2016. 4 million downloads of the original version. A lot of different bears. You collect huge numbers of different kinds of bears. There's a milk carton bear. Yeah, there's a bear that's a milk carton. It's called the hardcover edition.
Apparently,
so that's coming out
an
in a day.
addictive game, I guess.
Oh, it is. I've heard some people who just went all in on this thing. It's word games are compelling. My brain doesn't work on word games. I'm hopeless at them. I try to play Paperback. You know, the word build, the deck building, word building game? Nope, I suck. Not even close. Oh, let's see what else we got. Throne of the Dead sounds, why do I know that? No, that's shit. Never mind.
Nope. I just looked up Throner of the Dead, and I was so hoping it didn't bring up something really terrifying. I was like, oh no, don't hit enter.
Yeah, those look bad too. That's shit.
Yeah, those look bad, yeah.
Yep. Okay, let's keep going through it. Let's see if there's anything else. Anything else on the 24th that any of you looked at that looks okay?
Not that I...
Trying to find some.
They all look pretty crap, don't they? Yeah. Wait, what is... Oh, I think I've heard of this, or I might be wrong. Rule with an Iron Fish.
Huh.
Yes, yes. Become the greatest space pirate captain that ever fished. Add more pirates to your burgeoning island town. Listen to all their nonsensical complaints. Fish in ludicrous locations. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks cool.
This, I think used to be a mobile game, but it is not now. It's a pirate fishing game. You can fish in a volcano. And you build your pirate town with all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, you're right. It says that now that they've moved to Steam, they've added 20 new fish.
Excellent!
Some suggested by legendary NOAA researcher Dr. J. Orr. I'm glad they got him.
Damn.
That's important. It's important.
Love it. Robocraft, I guess, is finally coming out of early access. That is a stupidly popular game on PC. Also, Mac and Linux versions available. So for the 3 people that use those, bear that in mind. If I see anything that says Fists of Wrath in it, I'm always quite interested, because that's probably a brawler. But that looks like absolute arse. So, no. Never mind.
Transparent Black.
Okay.
How come I keep finding games that I know Dodger will love?
All right.
Transparent black. Look at this trailer. It is creepy and weird, and I think just enough like indie strangeness.
Oh Christ! What the fuck is this?
This looks like Chinese dev by the looks of it. There's a ton of Chinese games coming to Steam. Steam is exploding over there right now.
Add to wish list.
Yep. God.
Yep. Definitely looks creepy. The 2D horror genre seems to be really taking off at the moment. Oh, let's see. What else have we got in here? I'm looking through all of these, and I'm literally going by names here because a lot of these look absolutely terrible. I keep seeing these achievement hunter games and assuming that they're Rooster Teeth, and they're totally not. They just keep bringing these shitty things out every week.
Oh, they're not, actually? That's what I thought, too.
Yeah, they're totally not that. They're literally just, like, farming their achievement. Who farms achievements on Steam, of all places? God damn it.
Also, let's give a shout out to Lobster Empire finally coming out on the 25th.
Yeah, Lobster Empire, the Lobster Tycoon Simulator.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. There's a new Gravity Race kind of game. This looks quite nice. By I've heard of Drunken Apes before, and I don't know why I've heard that. Look at the art style of this. Hyperdrive. This looks pretty sweet. Yeah, that looks good. We'll see how that turns out. Why have I heard of Drunken Apes? What did they make? A bunch of stuff like Kill the Emoji. Well, never mind. I guess it's like Silver Dollar when they made a bunch of shit and then they made One Finger Death Punch, which was incredible.
Right, you just spray in a lot of different directions.
Oh, they
One
spray.
One of them's gotta work. It's like roulette.
Yeah. Star Waker. Ah, yes, this was kind of neat. You can command customizable spaceships in a mission to save mankind. I always like anything that lets you build customizable spaceships. So it's got different classes and stuff like that. Oh, pretty cool. If you're on PS4, you can get a version of Ultimate Ninja Storm now and One Piece also on the same week. And Madden is coming out for those of you that are interested in that. Krendor is probably pissing his pants right now over that. He loves his Madden.
Of course.
Yep, let's see.
Madden NFL 18. You could just put any number behind that.
Pretty much. Nobody would know the difference.
Changed.
Yep. Nothing on the 26th. There's one I wanted to point out on the 28th as just being the most flagrant ripoff of PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. Gamers Unknown Survival. Yes, Survival. Oh, Jesus.
I just looked at that and I was like, this looks like PUBG.
It just doesn't... It's such a ripoff.
How for the life of me... Well, I mean, this is gonna happen. It's the most popular game on Steam right now, but...
It's true.
Yep, welcome to another ripoff of PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds with crafting, and all of this stuff is very clearly asset flipped. Oh yes, by the community for the community. That good old chestnut.
And their first two thumbnails have a kitty on them. They're trying to grab me. I feel it.
Yeah, they are.
Yep.
Rude.
Chinese Paladin 5. Where the hell were the other four?
I was looking at that too. I was like,
this is all in Chinese. This doesn't look bad. Look at it. It's all in Chinese, but it looks graphically it looks okay. A few years out of date, maybe. Trying to skip through the actual gameplay on the damn trailer. There's just a lot.
English language not supported, too.
No. Like I said, there's quite a few Chinese games that just don't even bother to port.
They don't even try.
Yeah. Looks a little out of date, but doesn't look too shabby. For all of our Chinese listeners, I don't think there's many of them.
But for the few of you that are, pick that game up. It could be fun.
Yeah. Oh, Rock of Ages 2. There we go. There's our killer app for the week. Finally. I fucking love Rock of Ages. Rock of Ages 2, Bigger and Bolder, coming out on August the 28th. The combo tower defense and flattening historical figures with boulders game. This is awesome. By Ace Team, the weird guys that made that alien punching game. Oh, God. Yeah.
Ace Team actually made Deadly Tower of Monsters.
Did they make this too?
Yeah. Did they make this? Did they make Rock of Ages as well?
Yes, they did. They made Rock of Ages 1 and 2. Yeah. They made Xenoclash. Yeah, it was Xenoclash 1 and 2 they made. Oh, this one looks Deadly way better. Oh, look at this. The art style's so Monty Python, it hurts. Fuck me. I love the original. It was just try and roll the boulder down the hill and flatten everything. Oh, this is gonna be great. Oh, look at this. Yes.
Some devs just know how to hit it.
Yep.
Like
with a giant rock.
Sort of have an idea.
Period.
With a huge rock. I love it. You can run over Adam and Eve with a rock. And Medusa. There's different kinds of boulders now. Yes, I loved the first one. I can't wait. This is my pick for the week, folks. Rock of Ages 2.
Rock of Ages.
Right out of it. Not even a doubt. You have a boss fight with a Sphinx. Love it. It's got multiplayer. Yes. Lovely. Ah. This looks great. Okay, cool. At least there's one good game coming out this week. I think that's about it. Anyone else got anything else from that list?
Not me.
I couldn't see anything else.
No.
Nope. Don't think so.
All right.
I mean,
Yeah.
Uncharted's today, right? Am I right on that one?
I
so
believe so,
Last
yeah.
night, but yeah, today.
Yeah.
Okay, last night. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that. That's it. Yeah, it's sort of, well, not sort of. It's very lean.
Yep. Oh, God, it has a foosball mode. Jesus. All right. Sorry, I'm too excited about this now.
We've lost him.
Yep. I'm so excited my
forever.
head
Wrap it
turned
up,
into a
he's
dog. Ah, special effect. Ah. Okay.
What are you doing?
Check the stream. You'll find out exactly what I'm
You're
doing.
gonna be a dog, aren't you?
Yeah,
Are you turning into a puppy?
mostly, yes.
Oh,
Most-
God damn it.
Because of
There
your,
it is.
is your camera out of sync?
Kind of.
Is that what they're bitching?
There's always a 20-second delay.
Gotcha.
And my cameras look like crap today for some reason. Like, it breaks half the time. Webcams are so shitty. It's like last week, you were completely blown out, Dodger, in terms of your white balance. You know, you fixed it. And now mine looks like crap. Never gets fixed.
Hey.
Oh, there you go. All right. We're about done, but we'd love to tell you what we have on our channels and why you should go and support us and give us what little YouTube ad revenue is left. Right. For first things first, Carrick from AngryCentaurGaming, thank you very, very much for spending the time to come talk to us today. I'd love to talk to you about Airsoft at some point and board games. We should probably do that. That would be really, really cool. And if you're ever out this way, we can go find a field, because God knows we'll probably have to buy one at this point. What's coming out on your channel this week? What can people expect coming up?
Let's see. So I have a bunch of reviews. That's pretty much what I do, is just put my head down and do reviews. Let's see. Ones I can talk about. Well, Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Mario.
Good. Glad to see that.
Cannot wait. Pillars of Eternity Complete Edition, which that's going to be tough to get through.
That's huge amounts of content.
It's a huge, but I mean, luckily it's a collection of all the other stuff. And then Absolver, which we got the info for today. So
yeah,
I'm start looking at that. When's the review?
Review embargo is the
on that one,
28th. Streaming and first impressions preview embargo is up today. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's it for me. Most of the stuff I'm doing this week is that, or sitting down and doing patron rewards, which is always fun.
Yep.
Sitting down and trying to figure that stuff out.
Well, that's kind of what happens when YouTube fucks over your ad revenue for literally no reason. You know, in many cases, just because there's someone holding a gun in the thumbnail.
Or mine. I don't know if you got my other tweet.
Oh, I did.
But,
yeah.
I did an interview with a composer, uploaded 2 versions. One version got demonetized, the other did not. Just like
literally
there
identical.
Is no rhyme or reason.
Nope. I'm talking to YouTube Gaming about this week to hopefully do something about it. But what can I? I can't guarantee shit. They might reply to me, they might not. It's bollocks. If you want to know why some of your favorite YouTubers right now are either pushing brand deals or Twitch or they're setting up Patreons, that's because YouTube income for a lot of people is going to hell. I think I must be one of the only people that it's not going to hell for. I don't know why. Maybe I'm whitelisted or something, but it's a mess, and they gotta sort it out. They have to. They've got to. It's disaster. But thanks for working so hard and getting so many videos out anyway. And please do go support Carrick from ACG on Patreon. As I said, his videos are making fuck all money right now, and they clearly deserve to. He gets way more reviews done than I do. So there you go. Like I said, he's played every video game. I'm pretty sure he has.
No, I wish.
This will now be a persistent rumor that will never, ever leave you. But there you go. Thank you very much for taking your time to come to the show today. Very much appreciate it.
Yeah, very much. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been fun. Jesse, what you got coming up this week? What's going on?
Yo, we got some awesome Observer stuff on the channel, and then some more Cox teas, because there's a lot of games I played in the last week. And streaming. I'm gonna be streaming some stuff because I want to play through all of the new Uncharted, but I just want to play through it, and I don't really feel like doing a Let's Play series. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Understandable, frankly. Dodger, what's coming up this week?
So because my videos don't really make any money anymore, I decided I'm gonna make whatever the fuck video I want, and took a leaflet out of TB's book and made a video that was called Dodger Drinks Coffee and Tells You to Read Super Sons. So if you would like to go and watch that, I put that up.
It's awesome.
Over the weekend, and it's just me ranting about DC comic books. And I stream a lot. I've been streaming more and more. So if you would like to follow me at twitch.tv/DexBonus, that would be amazing. And I'm at DexBonus on pretty much everything else. I'm going to be shortly after this playing more of the Stormblood storyline with my cousin Tiri, if you are interested in Final Fantasy XIV at all. And we've also got Manga Pod tonight reading Snow White with the Red Hair, if you would like to join us for that and find out whether or not that manga was good.
Sounds great. Sounds perfect. I don't really have a lot coming up this week because I've got my next and hopefully final one of the cycle coming up for chemo session, so that kind of sucks, but...
Why are we all dogs?
Why are we not dogs? For what possible reason?
We all did it at the same time.
Don't move your face! You're breaking it! No! You've ruined everything.
Where?
Stop moving! Oh, Jesus. So I don't know what's coming up. There'll probably be another TB Suggests video of some description coming out. I will, of course, have Co-optional up on Thursday, but there'll probably be a couple of days of no content. That's just how it is. And I'll get back on the horse as quickly as I can, because recovery is getting quicker and quicker, hopefully every single time. If not, you can follow my Twitter for regular dog videos. There are quite a few of those, I will say that. And there was one of my chinchillas last night as well. So there you go. We are done, folks. Thank you very much for watching the Co-optional Barkcast or Dogcast or whatever they want to call it. We are done. We'll see you same time next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye. There it is. There we go. Goodbye.